my team, yeah. I don't wanna roll with no
Hello, and welcome to Melee Stats Deep Dives. Second time in 1 week. We we took a month off, so thought it'd be good to get a couple all in a row, trick some people into staying patrons. So I've got Gimme That Wheat here, your host, and we got a bunch of other hosts tonight. We've got the co-host for the last episode that we had. We have Pikachu942.
Oh, what up?
We have Algebra 123230, aka 343.
Hello.
And we have someone who is not going to be eligible for the National Melee Arcadian because they're already ranked. We have Captain Face Roll.
Hello.
Hey, Griff. So, all you fans of the show must be wondering what that song is at the beginning. And it's titled Unranked. Very fitting for the National Melee Arcadian. That's right, everyone. It's National Melee Arcadian season. The kids are running around, wondering about who might win the second National Melee Arcadian. The streets are abuzz with talks about whether or not Bimbo's going to win, or if it's going to be Bobby Big Balls. Well, the streets, yeah. The people are going crazy. The streets are going crazy. Talking about maybe it's going to be not a Falco who wins. So we've got
Streets themselves.
The Streets, the British hip-hop artist. He's very interested in this.
Very interested.
So there's a pretty big event going on this weekend in terms of like relative level of skill for anyone who doesn't know. It's called the National Melee Arcadian. So it's open to anyone who has not been ranked top 100 before. And they did this last year in, I think it was like March or April. And Michael ended up winning, who later became top 50 for that summer and then top 50 for that year. So it definitely holds a lot of weight on Melee, like right now. So what is everyone... what are everyone's thoughts on like last Melee Arcadian and this Melee Arcadian? How do we feel about the National Melee Arcadian as a whole?
That's a loaded question.
Okay, I'll start broader and then we'll work our way down. How do you feel about tournaments? The idea.
I like tournaments.
The idea of tournaments are cool. They're
okay.
If you talk to
it's good for there to be tournaments.
Yes, it's good for tournaments to exist, whether you like them or not.
It's fun to enter them too, I guess.
Mm-hmm. All right, competition as a concept.
Competition's all right. I would prefer there to be no competition, so I was the best. But
yeah, well, true. Okay, I guess
we're getting closer and closer with tournaments like these.
We're getting narrower. Let's keep going.
Okay, Melee.
Melee. I like Melee.
I like Melee too.
Melee's okay. Melee's like the second best Smash game.
Yeah, it's up there.
Okay, so we're getting close. Arcadians.
Love them.
This is the loaded one here.
I love them.
All right, we don't have Ambi Sinister on this one. Yeah.
Yeah, where's Ambi Sinister when you need him?
But yeah, I mean, were there any? Go on.
Here, let's let Griffin talk.
Yeah.
As an Arcadian champ myself, I think Arcadians are great.
What a non-biased perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. From my perspective, Arcadians are hard to seed.
Yes.
Yeah.
In that sense, I don't like them, but they lead to lots of interesting new data, so I do like them.
So I think last year's Melee National Arcadian was really interesting. I definitely thought the concept, like I will admit, I thought the concept was like really cool, but I would have said would have worked better in like, if someone asked me, I probably would have said it would have worked better in like a different capacity. You know, I really thought the Gods and Gatekeepers Forsaken bracket was really awesome because it was a good mix of like people who we knew, but also people who weren't like at the top level where they could just really crush everyone. And I think that was one of the really like most interesting brackets to watch at the time. And you know what? I ate my words. Like I think the Melee National Arcadian was so cool. Just the ability to see all these players who are not nationally known on like a really larger sense to a lot of the Melee fan base, and seeing them duke it out is really interesting.
Pretty awesome. The last one was pretty cool, but I actually think this one's going to be even more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. What are our thoughts on like the difference well, so it's a difference in location. So there's a lot more SoCal people. Do we have any thoughts on like the difference in the players who we're seeing here and the other one?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just jump in. I think that like generally for larger tournaments, like regionals plus even like nationals, actually, I think the location is a big indicator of sort of the mid-level of the tournament. Let's say you have a national like Genesis, for example. Obviously, you're gonna have like the same gods. You're gonna have the same like splattering of top 100 players, hopefully. But the players right under top 100, like sort of like I guess just the regional players, are really dictated by the region, obviously. So like NorCal or SoCal generally considered to be stronger regions than like Chicago, for example. So the nice thing about having it in SoCal means you have almost the entire SoCal PR who's eligible anyway to enter, which means that's already like 20 players, which, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on your perspective, but like arguably are already pretty close to top 100 level. So that already adds like 20 seeds that are just like potential favorites to win the whole thing if you have an insane bracket for them. Whereas having it in Chicago, like you have the hitters from all the Midwestern states, like the top from every Midwest state, but like they're less deep generally than like SoCal, for example.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really cool to see the difference. Like the first one was Midwest, and this one's SoCal, and people coming from NorCal, and other regions, of course, but those are the big ones. So it's really interesting to see the difference in the players who are going to each. I think it's really cool that we got to have one last year that focused on Midwest, and we got to have this one this year, which focuses on the West Coast. And I understand that it's like logistical reasons because of Roe running it. Obviously he spent a lot of time in the Midwest and is now in SoCal. But I really think the idea of like spreading this National Arcadian around to different parts of the country, or I guess like having it be different parts of the globe, also would be interesting. But I really like the wealth of players who will get to see through this.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Pretty much agree. It's pretty awesome. I
Yeah.
hope the next one's on the East Coast, so we have all areas of the country covered.
Yeah, that would be
Well,
cool.
friend of the show, Aiden, has talked extensively about how he like any of his favorite European players could come and win these. And I don't know if I want to agree with this right away, but I definitely think there's a lot to that statement. There's a lot of really great European players who we're not really going to be able to see for something like this. And like seeing like Princette or something like that versus the field would be really interesting.
Oh, you'll see that at Emerald City 8.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
no need to shill. You Aiden shill.
Pika's just excited for good melee.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to
Definitely.
get into the pools? We've got a lot of really interesting players here, so I think we should not waste time on talking about Pika's interest in melee, and we should just get into the
Ow.
nitty gritty.
Sure. Do we want to start with singles or doubles? Maybe we can get doubles out of the way fast.
Doubles, I think, is going to be a crapshoot, right?
No.
Doubles? Do you
No,
really think
du-
it's
du-
going to be a crapshoot? The 1 seed is
Oh,
not Invavis.
I'm sorry. Okay, so like, yeah, it's going to be a crapshoot after one.
Yeah, pretty much. Non-Vaves are gonna win, and then
They're
see what
the
happens.
they're the Arcadian Pewfat.
If they lose, it'd be like a big upset. That'd be like something to talk about. But otherwise, no.
Yeah, definitely one of probably the strongest team of people who aren't currently ranked top 100, even at like a major. If you were to have other players.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they're
I agree.
yeah.
I think they're just straight up one of the best teams right now.
I mean,
I think
it's all relative, I guess. Like, hard for me to say how they would do against like teams on the come up, like Zane Chillin, who I think have had solid results, but doesn't really
that's true.
affect this tournament particularly.
Yeah.
Correct. Neither of those guys are eligible.
Yeah, and what's kind of interesting about this is Nut as a player, Vaves less so because he's kind of like not entering singles really, but like Nut has been seeing insane results growth. He's ranked 11 in SoCal now, which is the second highest SoCal player who's not currently ranked on the top 100, even being ranked above some players who are top 100. This might be his last like event where like he might be top 100 next year is what I'm trying to say. So he could never team with Faves again at an event like this, you know, an Arcadian type thing.
Yeah, definitely. Nudge strikes me as one of those players right now who has a very good chance of ending the year top 100. There's already like a handful of players who I think with their resume so far in the year, like it's a pretty good idea to think that they might make the top 100, and that's definitely in that tier.
Yeah.
He has 12 West Bowls wins.
He's got 12
Yeah.
West Balls wins.
12. It's
They're
12
even.
12.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we
West
want
Balls is,
to make a
big
call
rivalry.
for who might get second or third in doubles, or is it just
Ugh.
Nut Vaves or
I
bust?
think Nut Vaves are going to win. I think Wavebringer Kedbot are going to get second.
That's
And that's all I care about.
That's a good call. It's really tough for like an unranked doubles tournament to really make any good predictions. So
Yeah, I will note that Wavebringer, like, I guess I sort of favor static teams a little bit, and Wavebringer and Kevbot are not a static team. I don't think Lint and Big Kid, the third seed, are either. But
no, I
fourth
think
seed Fizz DSJ are definitely people who team together like normally.
yeah, I think the issue is with something like this is that you're taking a lot of the stack teams away because you have unranked people who team with ranked players. Slox
Yep.
Lint I think is definitely a pretty solid team, and I
Yep.
guess Wavebringer's big one is probably Ralph, right?
Yep, Wavebringer
Yeah.
often teams with Ralph.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I know
Yeah,
that
Ralph Wavebringer's one of the
Definitely a
better
national
NorCal
threat.
teams.
Yeah, Ralph is just
Yes.
like if you team with Ralph, you should be getting a pretty high seed.
Ralph is so good in doubles, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this should be interesting to see like these players who are really good at teams, but are kind of lost their static partner because of the eligibility requirements. So that should be a cool thing to see. But yeah, let's just call it Nut Vaves and move on.
Yeah. Let's go to singles. Let's go to the main event.
Yeah, so let's just there's only 8 singles pools, I believe.
Yep.
And then that
They're-
feeds.
But they're all so stacked.
They're all stacked, and so they all feed into top 32. So yeah, let's go through pool by pool, and we'll just pick out a couple different names and a couple really interesting matchups, and then we'll move on. So we're starting at A1. Does anyone want to take A1? Start talking about things that they might find interesting, players who they think will do well.
There's plenty of interesting stuff in this pool.
There's
so
a
I guess
ton of
let's
interesting
Let's
stuff.
talk about Bimbo first. Bimbo is the overall 1 seed for the tournament. He has recent wins over the likes of SFAT, Ginger,
Bananas.
other
Bananas.
top players.
Yeah.
Bimbo's a pretty old school Falco from Tijuana, Mexico. He's been playing with Eddie for a long time. And yeah, he's actually leveled up quite a bit recently, which is pretty cool. But his bracket is very interesting for him. He has a bunch of Marth mains in a row.
Yeah,
roughly.
it's not a particularly easy bracket for someone like him. I know
Yeah.
I've seen some people on Twitter who've commented about how a lot of the top seeds are Falco players. I think 3 of the top 4 seeds are Falco players. And
Yep.
it's really interesting to see at this level how they do against all the other like heavy hitters because there's so many people who are just like focused on destroying species.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Bimbo has, the winner of Lego Polier, who are both Marths, into possibly Wieners, who's another like strong Marth, used to be ranked in SoCal, and then possibly he might face the second seed in his pool, Owl, in
Yeah.
the first round of top 32.
Owl
Um,
I believe Owl is currently ranked first in San Diego, correct?
Yes, he is ranked first in San Diego. Santi
Yeah.
is inactive, but Owl does quite well against Santi, and most people would probably say that Santi's Falco is better than Bimbo. So
Most people.
most people.
Yeah.
And if they don't say
Um,
it, then they're not welcome in Melee Stats. You're not a
No.
friend of Melee Stats if you say that Santi is worse than Bimbo.
Meanwhile, sorry, I'm watching Zach Owl, and Zach just took game 1.
Oh, with Marth?
Marth Ditto.
Oh boy.
He was behind, but he got a clutch dare.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
speaking of Marth.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
speaking of
I
Marth.
really do think that this is a tough pool for Bimbo. I mean, like, any player here is going to have a tough pool because there's so many good people in each pool. But
Yeah.
yeah, like, getting
Every pool
Marth,
is
Marth,
seated
Barth.
16 deep. I think each pool has probably 18 or 20 people out of like the 26 who
They're
have
really
at least
good.
a shot at making it out of the Nationals pool.
Like the 16 seed in the first pool is Ace, and I would say Ace is pretty decent right now.
Yeah, Ace is like a pretty decent San Diego player. Like, probably would get top 8 at their. I think he got top 8 at the San Diego Arcadian. Like, he's solid fox.
Yeah.
I
mean, Polier is number 9 in the
Yeah,
pool.
Polier's
And he's
number
number
2
2
in Colorado.
in Colorado, which is
Yeah.
so.
He's 65th seed overall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's
these are
but let's
just
talk about the other
wild.
side of the pool, actually.
Yeah, I think that's a really
Um,
interesting. I think this is the more interesting part of the bracket. If anyone wants to talk about that.
Yeah. So Owl is the second seed of the pool, who's favored to make it on winners, but he actually has a pretty tough path for a Marth. He is projected to play against Riche from I forget if it's Kansas or Missouri. I'm sorry.
It's Missouri.
Yeah, so Riche is from Missouri, a strong Falcon player, recently defeated Rishi,
Yeah,
who, is a top 30 level Marth player, so Riche clearly knows his Marth matchup very well. And then after,
No,
if
wait, no, he is
overcomes-
Kansas.
Sorry?
He is Kansas. He is Kansas.
Oh,
My
he's in
bad.
Kansas, yeah. So Riche is from Kansas.
Yeah.
And if Owl manages to overcome Riche, he likely faces the winner of Fizz and Pleba, who are two strong Sheik players.
Pleba also with a
Pleba.
Rishi win.
Yeah, Pleba, another player
Yeah,
with a Rishi
Pleba.
win. Amazingly
Rishi.
seated right next to Riche, 48 and 49. But, that's a product of the tier randomization. But still very amusing.
Yeah. So what do we
It's
think
all
about
amazing.
Owl's chances in this side of the bracket? It does feel like, we're talking about how Bimbo has a really tough bracket as the 1 seed in the pool, but Owl as the 2 seed also has a really tough bracket, I would say.
Yeah. Riche, I honestly don't have a good way to predict it. I think Owl is fairly strong against Falcon, but again, I haven't seen him play against Falcons for a while. I don't know if he's played with Surfero recently in San Diego, and he doesn't travel to like the northern part of SoCal that much, and I don't know if he's actually played any good Falcons.
Yeah, I don't. He didn't have records with like Zia last period, for example, or SJ, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, so I honestly don't know how strong Owl is against Falcon right now. So honestly, that might be a toss-up.
Yeah, I think he does have Sheik data though. He's positive on Okami within San Diego. Okami was, only active at locals, so he doesn't seem like he's taking the game like super seriously. But Okami, obviously, previous top 100, previous SoCal ranked, so definitely not like a player who's unworthy of being mentioned. And then also the one time that Owl actually did travel out of San Diego last period in SoCal, he beat Nut, and then he beat me in winners finals. So Seems pretty good for Sheik.
Definitely,
Seems pretty good. Yeah.
definitely solid results.
Yeah, playstyle differences might matter. I'm not entirely sure how I would say Fizz or Plebo play versus Okami or me or Nut. But I mean, obviously, those are very strong results, and I would consider Fizz and Pleba worse than the players mentioned usually. So,
wow, calling yourself better than Fizz and Pleba. I thought you were supposed to be humble.
See how it is. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that would definitely be an interesting one. Then I didn't really know about his strength in the Sheik matchup to that extent, so I feel a little more confident in him.
He's pretty decent at the Sheik matchup. I think Reach is definitely going to be his hardest opponent in his path.
Yeah, Reach definitely still seems tough. Is there anyone else in this pool who we think is worth noting? I know that it's tough to really contain
you should
yourself
mention
because I'm sure we could just name like half the pool at a certain point.
Sure.
I could say like everybody. It's hard.
Yeah, exactly.
We
Is
should
there
at least
anyone who we?
mention the fifth seed who we haven't talked about at all?
Yeah.
Holiday.
Yeah.
Holiday has, well, he's the fifth seed, so he would be playing Wieners, possibly the fourth seed. I actually don't know about Holiday's results versus Marth recently.
He lost to Drug Fox's Marth at Pound. That's
He
what
lost
I
to Drug
remember.
Fox's Marth.
I mean, many
hard
foxes
to
would.
say what that means.
Yeah, that's
I don't know what that means either. That's all I remember.
It's a very odd statement in 2019.
Yeah. But Holiday's definitely, very solid Fox player.
Yeah.
So
He's got to win on Jerry's Puff this year, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Even if he does lose to Wieners, he has a decent chance of making out through losers as well. I think Holiday is pretty strong in the Sheik matchup at least, and he might end up playing Fizz to make it out. So yeah, look out for Holiday too.
All right, awesome. Anyone else we want to point out, or should we move on to the next pool?
I mean, I just want to say Lego, obviously.
Yeah.
We kind of already talked about him because he's in Bimbo's path, but I don't know. I like him. He beat Iceman at Dome Park in Marth Dittos. He beat Kadoran when they played at Saving Mr. Lombardi. So that gives me some confidence in Marth Ditto experience. I don't really know what his NorCal results are like, but if he has to play Polier and then Marth.
Yeah, I will say that the NorCal Arcadian is next week after the National Arcadian. Lego is certainly going to be a top 4 seed at the NorCal Arcadian.
The first seed.
He's definitely top 4. I haven't really thought that hard about who's going to be first seed. It's probably going to be him, Trap Lord, or Mar.
That makes sense.
They're definitely the top 3 Arcadians in NorCal right now, in my opinion. So it should be very interesting. I think, Lego is a lot of strong matchups. Definitely an up-and-coming player who people should be looking out for. So,
do we want to call any people to move out of the pool? I don't know if we want to talk about who makes it out of winners, or if we can even try to do who might make it out. Yeah, I think that might be a little tough.
Lego and Owl.
Yeah.
Lego and Owl and winners.
That's wow.
Wow.
I'm gonna go Wiener. I'm gonna go Wieners and Owl.
Wow. All right. Well, you know what? I was gonna say Bimbo, but I gotta get in on this train. All right, ready? Pull here, and Owl.
Oh, let's go!
Wow.
Let's go, Colorado.
Bold move. I'm gonna have to root for my friend Lego here, and I'm hoping Owl makes it out in winners. I think Owl is really good. So
yeah, I trust Bimbo a lot. I was just getting in on the fun. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to pool A2.
That's still the favorite. Obviously, he's the 1 seed. So
regardless of all the Marths, definitely has an incredibly solid chance to make it out in winners. Does anyone want to talk about pool A2? Anyone want to take the reins for that one?
Do it. Dane, you can do this one.
I'll do this. This has one of my favorite people in this tournament as the top seed of this pool, Zio. yeah, I don't know. I love Zio, so I'm extremely biased in his favor.
The most humble man in Melee, as I call him.
But I think, yeah. So Zio is the top seed in this pool. His path looks like Tank or Kramer. Tank's a solid AZ player around PR level. Fox. Kramer is a San Diego Fox, also ranked in San Diego. So Zio, yeah, he has to beat some Foxes and then plays probably the winner of Franz and Fluid, Doc and Icy's player. So I think Zio is reasonably favored to make it out in winners
Hmm
side.
Now, he's
He
played
did,
Franz before as well.
yes.
I
Zio
believe
is
he's
pretty
pretty
positive on
positive. Yeah.
France. I don't know if he's ever lost. He might have lost once to France, but I think his
Franz is
lifetime
very
was
powerful, so it's
quite
not surprising.
positive. Although France also has improved a lot of the Falcon matchup since about a year and a half ago when they played in San Diego, where
Mhm.
Zio like wiped the floor with France. But
They
France
haven't
has
played
gone,
a
I
lot
think,
recently, so
5 with S2J before, so he's no slouch at the matchup anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but I think Zio is reasonably favored to make it out in winners, even though I guess at Pound he did lose to Cypher Phoenix and Losers, is another solid Fox, but
Yeah.
maybe not that much better than Tanker Kramer.
It's tough to really think of how to parse that loss. I'd be willing to say that's just a one-off, considering
Yeah.
Zio's relatively strong results everywhere else. You got 25th
Yeah.
at Genesis, beating Bimbo, Squid, Ralph. Like,
Yeah, he beat Ralph's Fox, he beat Squid, and he beat Bimbo. So,
yeah,
you know,
I'd be willing
he
to
was the
write that
only
off.
non-top 100 player to make top 32 at Genesis.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I think him
enough
versus
talking about
Franz
Zio.
should be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I think that Franz, I would say, is pretty solidly favored over Fluid on my mind. I know Franz has a set on Army, or maybe two. Pretty. I think he's still negative on Army, but he has one over him.
Yeah.
And the Doc Icy's matchup is a really odd one. I know Doc has some things in it, and would definitely say that Franz probably knows that matchup more than Fluid would.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it certainly seems annoying for Ice Climbers.
Fluid has losses to Q in region.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was going to ask if
Yeah.
he had experience with Q, but
Yeah, I'm not sure what their overall record is, but I know he lost at least recently. So
I think Fluid's positive, but Q has he has more than his fair share of wins on him.
Yeah, so that should be an interesting one, but I definitely think Franz is favored for that.
Yep.
So if we get over to the other side of the bracket, we have a couple more. Got some more
Spacey
spacies.
land.
Yeah, we got a lot of spacies right
Yeah.
here.
So the top 4 seeds on the other side of the bracket are Albert versus Traplord and Ossify versus Mojo. So you got 3 Falcos and a Fox.
A San Diego Mojo, not the Texas
Yes,
Mojo.
San Diego Mojo, who actually has been inactive recently, so it should be interesting to see how he does at this tournament. I guess maybe let's talk about the round 2, the close round 2 matchup, the 7 versus 10 seed, Traplord versus Omelet.
Yeah.
First.
So
That'll be interesting.
We got a lot of people who can talk about Omelet.
I want to talk about Omelet,
Yeah,
dude.
well, can talk about Omelet.
Yeah, then you got Dame, who's the Samus, and then Griffin, who's SoCal. I feel like everyone has an Omelet connection except for me. I don't know if many. I love our listeners, and I think that they're super in tune with Melee. But even then, I don't know how many people actually know Omelet. So before we get into his bracket, if anyone wants to just give a short description of him.
Yeah, I got this. Omelet's he's an up and coming Samus player in SoCal. He's been getting pretty decent results this year. He has wins on Null, Nut, and Noah, Mega Xmas. So he's doing pretty good. He has several good wins. He's brought Curve really close multiple times. Has taken games on West Balls and things. He's definitely an up and comer. Outside of struggles in the Falcon matchup because he's Samus, I think he's actually pretty strong. So I think he's definitely on the come up in SoCal, and he might be PR next season. I can
Man,
feel
you were ready for that.
dude.
It's like
Dude,
you
I
had a
love Omelet,
script.
Dude, it's like I had a document of all of Omelet's results or something.
It's
Wow,
almost
so good.
like that. Yeah, so
It's
him versus
almost.
Trap Lord.
Yeah, he plays against Traplord, who's again, like I mentioned earlier, one of the top 3 Arcadians in NorCal. Traplord, I think, has taken a set or 2 off of YCZ, so he's definitely not
Not
no
a
stranger
slouch.
to the Samus matchup either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that matchup will be very interesting. Hopefully, it gets on stream, or
I want to see
even
that.
if it doesn't get on stream, then the National Arcadians using
Slippy!
Slippy, so we can watch it
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah.
So the winner of that would play Albert. Albert
Yes.
definitely one of those perennial favorites to be top 100. I feel like he's in that top 100 range every year. But is it
Yeah,
traveling? Do we know? Do we really know why he hasn't been able to get to that?
Albert doesn't leave Texas. He
Yeah.
doesn't even leave his region of Texas. He doesn't even go to big Texas tournaments most of the time.
I feel like that
Yeah.
was the case. Yeah.
I think the big problem is lack of activity, even though, I mean, he's had strong performances at Texas Regionals multiple times. And,
I'm surprised he's even going to this, honestly.
yeah, I'm impressed. I think maybe Texas was originally going to send Billy Bo Peep and SFOP to this, but I think neither of them were able to attend. And so maybe they sent Albert instead and Tierno.
I think if Albert's a replacement for that, I think he's a pretty good replacement. I'd say
Yeah.
he's roughly same skill as those guys.
Yeah, he's certainly very close to them in their regional results. So, yeah, Albert. Yeah, I mean he's certainly the favored person in this area of the bracket,
Yeah.
and he definitely has Falco Ditto experience.
So
Maybe I don't know about Samus experience actually. There's not a lot of Samuses in Texas.
yeah,
And I
that'll
don't know if any of them are better than Omelet.
that'll be a cool matchup if that ends up happening.
Yeah. And on the other side, we have Ossify, who's currently number 5 in Michigan after the 4 top 100 players in Michigan. He's like I guess he won their Michigan Arcadian out of nowhere, basically after being a net player, as far as I can tell. But since then, he's posted lots of really strong results in Michigan. And at the recent regional, he won a tournament over Prince Abu with Falco.
Yeah, definitely very strong. I believe he's also pretty young. I don't. Does anyone know his exact age? He's like 16 or so, right?
I think he's a high schooler, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
This is definitely the tournament for
might just
powerful
be
high
making it up.
schoolers.
Yes.
We've already got another high schooler in this pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Franz is still in high school.
France.
And we're
Yeah.
probably going to have a couple more like highly seeded high schoolers as we go through the bracket.
We definitely are.
Definitely.
Yeah, but Ossify is going to play San Diego Mojo, who we mentioned kind of inactive, but was ranked reasonably highly in SoCal about a year ago. Definitely a very strong Fox player. He didn't have a great showing at the last National Arcadian, if I recall correctly. But that was because of the weird SoCal bloodbath and losers.
And that was that I don't know how that happened. They just all like
there were some mistakes made, unfortunately.
if I remember, Wieners lost to Lemon Juices, which also messed it up.
Yeah, they decided to lose.
Yeah, it was mostly Wieners' fault, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ossify Mojo could be extremely interesting. And then winner of that versus probably Albert will also be interesting. Some high-paced, spacey dittos, hopefully.
Okay, so are we going to make some calls for who's going to make it out?
I feel like for me, this one's pretty easy. I'm just going to pick the top 2 seeds, Zio and Albert.
I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I don't think either of them are being faced with like extra tough matchups, at least. So I'll probably just go with Zio and Albert as well.
It'll be interesting to see if the projected bracket if the projected bracket matchups line up with what they're going to be, we're going to have Franz and Mojo to make it out, which
Ooh.
both are
Ooh.
in like roughly the same area of
They're both
SoCal.
originally from Temecula, actually. So they're
Yeah.
actually, yeah, they like, I'm pretty sure live very close to each other. Although Mojo is usually in San Diego for school. So
Mhm. So
Yeah.
that definitely should be an interesting one. I was gonna say that Franz, I feel pretty confident in him making it out.
uh-huh.
Like just his skill plus him being a doc. So there's a tiny bit of matchup inexperience. But that's probably the toughest draw that he could have gotten, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Mojo is definitely someone who knows Franz very well. He is historically fairly positive, although they haven't played in a while, I think.
Hmm.
Mojo, I think, yeah, even when he was going to Temecula tournaments, at some point, like, maybe he like would sandbag against Franz, or I don't remember exactly what happened, but I felt like they didn't actually have that much data against each other after a while, which was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So then I guess it really could go
Yeah,
either
I
way.
don't know.
It's hard to call for that.
I do think Mojo is probably favored in that head-to-head. So
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Well,
it'll
that'll
be.
be a match to look forward to if the bracket ends up like that. Because I think Franz
Yes.
going out that early would probably be a little surprising to me, to be honest.
Well, that'll be
Yeah,
33rd. And he's
33rd.
seated
Yeah. Hey, you
around,
know what? There's
yeah,
been players who
top
got
32.
33rd at the last Arcadian and got top 100.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Let's go
Zamu.
Zamu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So before we move on to pool A3, Griffin, I wanted to ask you about your involvement in this. So we had you on, but we had you on this episode, but we never said why.
Oh, well, I'm one of the head TOs for this tournament, actually, the second National Melee Arcadian. I'm one of the, I guess, like, front-facing community members within SoCal. So I TO'd, I was president of the, like, Melee Club at UC Irvine for all 4 years that I was there. Captain of, like, our TMG/CSL team. So I have TO/event management experience with that, and then I generally am sort of like, I guess, the TO in the shadows for most like locals. A lot of like local TOs will ask me questions about like bracketology or like how to handle situations, and then so for this event, I mostly handled interactions with like our beautiful seed team and like volunteer coordination and sort of like general PR stuff. PR being public relations, not power ranking. So yeah, that's what I'm involved with.
Awesome.
Also, I'm a SoCal top player, I guess,
Let's go.
and I'll be there, so that's sort of exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I was super down to just have you on without saying why, so it looks like we're super cool. But
We know top players.
we know top players. But I definitely think your involvement in this is something that we should probably mention. Do you think, and just quickly before we go on, like how different is this event so far from a TO standpoint from the other ones that you've ran? I know that you were involved with Saving Mr. Lombardi, correct? Like that was a big recent one.
Yes. Yeah. So this is, I guess, my first time dealing with like, I'm not sure what your exact term is, the national seeders, I guess, the people that actually seed like relevant events and have like all the data and have like a very streamlined process.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting to me because, I mean, I guess we're all sort of in the same boat, but I've always been very interested in like results. I'm kind of a low-key stream monster because I don't really type in chat that often, but I'm like pretty much always watching locals. I joined the Melee Stats podcast, or sorry, the Melee Stats Discord, podcast Discord recently.
Yeah. Which
Because,
listeners can as well.
yes, because they just talk about. It's actually kind of ridiculous how much people look at locals. I was like surprised, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like basically the difference between like the other tournaments I've ran. It's like I got to see really in depth how annoying and how long it takes to like really seed like super accurately.
Yeah. Well,
It's
this is going to be the most annoying event, right?
Probably it's up
Yeah.
there.
This is
Yeah.
very up.
Definitely. All right. So speaking about the seeding, let's go to pool A3. So we get to see the third seed. Where is this? I think
Actually, this is the fourth seed.
I was
looks
gonna
like.
say I think Link God is the fourth seed.
Yeah.
So-
We did some pool swapping around due to conflicts. So
I mean, Lint's like that whole tier right there. I think 3, 4. That that's all nebulous. So this is
it's
one
funny
of
because usually the 3-4 tier is not as nebulous, but because it's an Arcadian,
yeah.
it's quite difficult to determine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like every tier is nebulous in an Arcadian.
Well, that's kind of the beauty of it, though, right?
Like 30 people could win this tournament, dude.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's the coolest part about it, and the least cool part about it is that all those people also complain that they should have been seated differently.
Because they can win the tournaments. They're like, I should be first seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
good. People should be confident in themselves. They should think, I'm going to win this tournament. I can beat all of these non-top 100 players, right?
Yeah.
Because honestly, probably more than 30 of these, probably like 50 of these players have top 100 wins.
Yeah. I would count them, but it would take too long.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay,
not like
well-
they haven't beaten someone that good before,
Mute yourself,
right?
get counting, and then get back to us at the end of the show. We don't hear from Pika
Anyway,
for
who wants to
an
start
hour,
talking about
and he's like
A3?
57. Just right,
I guess
right at
there's
the
a
end of
lot
the
of-
episode.
There's a lot
If
of
you want-
SoCal people, so I can take this one.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, you can do it.
This
Okay,
is SoCal, everyone.
Yeah, well, the first seed, not SoCal.
SoCal.
We have Link God, Falco,
Well-known
in-
SoCal Falco.
it's from Connecticut, ranked highly in New England. He's also ranked on the Tri-State PR, actually. I'm looking at it, says he's 8th, according to the most recent Smash GG one. 6th in New England. He's pretty
I
much...
think he might be second on the new New England PR.
Oh, wow.
On the new one that just came out.
Wow, okay, yeah. He's definitely, I would say actually kind
he's
of...
third.
Yeah, he's below Slox and Joy Boy, I think.
Okay, yeah, that makes
Right.
sense.
Yes, correct.
I think he's sort of a player that, I'm not sure if it's the nature of his matches that end up being on stream or his region, but I feel like he's a player that's a little seldom talked about if you look at, sort of maybe your more average Melee viewer. Not the geniuses of, Melee stats or people who are very attuned to results, but Linkgod, I don't think, if you asked an average SoCal player, I don't think they would necessarily know who Linkgod is what I'm trying to say. And so seeing him at this high of a seed might be surprising, but it's really not, just because he's, very good. In my personal experience, I play him in friendlies at, every Shine that I've gone to, which I think is 3, and I always just lose every friendly. Linkgod is insane.
Wow.
I don't know how he does it. I have a lot of wins on every Falco I play except for Westballs, and Lint is just he's just there. I don't know how he does it. The issue with Lint, I think, is that he's kind of inconsistent. He kind of his floaty matchups at nationals are kind of his bane. If he has the right bracket, I think he obviously at this event he can win for sure. But at nationals, he usually runs into a Peach or a Puff,
Yeah,
or an Ice Climbers, and his bracket usually runs shorter than I would like it to, or that what he's capable of. That's enough about Lint, though. The 4 and 5 seed in this pool, Wavebringer and I Love Bagels.
Speaking
Wavebringer
of
is
floaties.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Wavebringer, NorCal Peach. I don't believe he's ever actually been ranked in NorCal. But
he's been ranked 2 or 3 times, actually. He's currently number 18.
Oh, is he? Okay. All right, well then. Yeah, so he's sort of at the lower end of the PR, but one of the people we talked about for doubles, actually, he's the 2nd seed in doubles along with Kevbot. Been a little inactive as far as I know, but definitely someone, like I said, if he ends up making it to Link God, could be someone that gives Link God trouble. I Love Bagels is Arizona Luigi. And notably, at least that I can think of, at Runback 2018, beat West Balls in pools. And so that was Luigi Falco. And so West Balls, obviously is going to play different than Link God. West Balls may be kind of known for dropping sets where he's not as serious as possible. But even so, taking a set off West when he goes Falco is not very easy when you play a character like Luigi. So that could be trouble if he happens to beat Waybringer for our top seed. I think that'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah. I Love Bagels is AZ-PR'd, but he's also been nationally ranked for Project M. So
Yes.
it'll
He's
be interesting.
one of the best Project M players. He's up there.
Yeah, definitely the defining Project M and Luigi, I'm pretty sure. So his ability to play those matchups like I think Luigi Peach isn't incredibly favorable for Luigi, but considering his talent in PM, I wonder if that would have anything to play. So that's
Yeah.
going to be like a something to look out for, that little part of the bracket, because you're right. I think either one of those could give Lint trouble. He's a really solid player and pretty consistent versus like spacies and fast fallers, but like you're right, when he gets like floaties in his bracket, it's tougher to say for sure.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, the PM comment is actually pretty interesting because, Peach is PM is known for its floaties, so
Yeah, it'll be interesting to
that
see whether or
experience
not that
might,
plays.
transfer over well.
Yeah, and I'm sure Iowa Bagels has some peach experience in Arizona. There's
Yeah.
some decent
Yeah,
peaches
with
there.
napkins.
Napkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so those are sort of. I guess we didn't talk about 8 or 9 yet, but we can go ahead and go to the bottom part of the bracket. The second seed in the pool is O'Reilly. He's a Chicago Captain Falcon, someone that I know relatively well because I'm from Chicago, actually. So I have many, many sets playing him at locals before I moved to Southern California permanently. He's not someone that gets to go to nationals or really big tournaments outside of the Midwest, super often. So I'm really excited to see how he can actually fare, because I don't feel like I get to see him play these types of people too often. But unfortunately for him, he kind of has a hard road. So the third seed in the pool, who he's projected to play to make it to top 32 in winner's side, is Mega Xmas, a SoCal ranked Falco who has wins on S2J, not super recently, but he has them. He has multiple wins on Zio, who most people would say is maybe a tier or two above O'Reilly, who also plays Captain Falcon. So it's kind of, even just at that round looks hard, but earlier than that, he has to play the winner of East Coast Jeff and Dage. And it's just I think brackets matter a lot, for a tournament like this, where if someone has the perfect bracket, I think they can just make a run for free. And if they have a really hard bracket, they might just get 33rd, even though they're an insanely high seed. So East Coast Jeff and Dage both play Spacies, so it's not going to be super easy for O'Reilly, despite him being seeded higher. And then even if Mega Xmas gets upset, he would most likely play Tierno.
Yeah, I was just about to say
Mega Xmas.
That's a hard
Tierno
draw.
is a Texas Falco. So assuming the seeds go accurately for that winner's quarters match, 3 and 6, one of them's a Falco. So if O'Reilly makes it there, I'm not saying he loses to every Falco he plays or anything. I'm just saying it's not going to be easy. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a tough draw for sure, because we talked about how much we think Albert's good, but Tierno has been ranked over Albert in the past.
He's a pretty good Texas player. He's from the same region as Albert. That's why they're here together. Usually, right now, Albert's number 1 in his region to Tierno's number 2. So Albert usually wins right now, but Tierno's definitely has the skill to be on Albert's level at times.
Yeah, I mean both of them
right now.
are in a pretty similar tier. I think Tierno Apparently Tierno was ranked first on the spring 2018 power ranking, so it wasn't even incredibly far away when he was ranked first. So I think having the winner of him and Mega Xmas is a pretty tough draw for O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's rough for O'Reilly. Double Falco is not good for a Falcon.
No,
No.
definitely not. And honestly, he plays just as like a random SoCal bit. He might play Shmoofy his round one, and Shmoofy really not on the level of O'Reilly. He's an Orange County Falco, but like Shmoofy as a player is someone who always surprisingly plays to his opponent's level. That's sort of like the joke of Shmoofy is like you send him in a crew battle, doesn't matter if you send him against Armada or Zane or someone who goes 0-2 at your school. He's always going to go even with them. So Shmoofy is sort of a player who, I don't know, man, like it would be a pretty wild upset, but
So Shmoofy's winning this, right?
yeah.
He's winning the
So
Arcadian.
Yeah, he's winning the whole tournament.
He's going
He's
even.
gonna play to his
He's
opponent.
not winning 2-0 ever. It's always game 3.
That would be sick.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think I knew that about Shmoofy, so that bracket even gets a little harder.
Yeah.
And then like right before, man, look at all these. Right before that same round, actually, East Coast Chef plays Dage, and if Dage were able to take that, Dage is another Falco, right? Or am I making?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
Falco.
I know that Dage is like Squid's Bane for a little tiny bit. I don't know if he's still on that level, but that's really
Dage
funny.
doesn't really enter tournaments much right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen him recently in
But
the
he
bracket.
was definitely beating Squid for a little bit last year, just like a little bit.
Yeah,
for a hot minute.
That's a funny bracket right there. What did O'Reilly do to deserve this?
to deserve this Spaces bracket. Well,
To
he
deserve
got hit
all
by
these
the
Falcos.
RNG at a tournament that has a lot of
He
Spaces.
went. O'Reilly got this because he did an all Temple Grand Finals today.
Yeah, he did beat.
That's why.
He played Michael on Temple for like 10 games or something like that.
It was 7 games.
Imagine
Played
wanting to
some
play
Mushroom
a
Kingdom
puff.
before that.
Oh, it's Mushroom Kingdom 2. Imagine wanting to play a puff on Temple. If someone could beat a puff on Temple, let alone any puff, but Michael on Temple, then you know what? I'm gonna say he's gonna like destroy these Falcos.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, he won. So
he must have the greatest possible amount of patience. So.
Yeah.
So do we want to call
so,
any? We kind of like talked about all the top seeds for this pool. Do we want to call any people who we project making it out?
For me and winners, I'm going to predict Wavebringer and Noah Mega Xmas.
Interesting.
Wow.
That's a pretty good pick. It's kind of wild to say pick neither of the top seeds, but I see it.
I don't think Lint's gonna beat Wavebringer, sadly.
I'm gonna believe in Lint. I'm gonna pick Lint in Mega Christmas.
I'm gonna pick double Falco as well, but I'm gonna go Lint and Tierno.
Ooh. I was actually thinking a similar thing. Mega Christmas he's like taking sets off Squid, but when I talked to him at Nimbus yesterday, and he was like very specifically practicing for Falco. Maybe that's just because he was so confident for Falcon that like if he beats the Falco, he makes it to Falcon, and then it's like not a big deal. But yeah, I don't know if he. I don't know. We definitely played friendlies a little bit. Definitely won several games with my Falco. So I don't know if I don't want not a specific shot or anything. I'm just saying maybe Tierno could win, and then I feel like Tierno might be favored for so really, honestly.
Agree.
Interesting. I guess before we finish talking about this pool, we should talk about Gooms.
Did we talk about Gooms?
8-seed Gooms.
We did not talk about Gooms. So Gooms, also a youngin, Fox player from SoCal, was actually pretty close to being ranked in SoCal this period. He had multiple wins over people like Shoyo and Nut. Didn't quite make the cutoff. He had kind of a bit of inconsistency issues, as most species do. But definitely someone to look out for. Him versus Epic Murloc is interesting. Epic Murloc is like a Ganon from SoCal who's been inactive recently, but at the last SoCal Arcadian, he got third, I believe.
Second?
I think Shoyo got second to Didi, and Epic Murloc got
Oh,
third.
maybe you're right.
Yeah, that's right. It was Didi, Shoyo, and then Epic Murloc.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's definitely an interesting thing. I think Gooms. I think Lynn's gonna win, like for sure. But I wouldn't be
Sure.
surprised.
Yeah.
There's a
But I think
possibility for sure.
In losers, what might be interesting is if Gooms is projected to play I Love Bagels.
Oh.
Gooms beat Eddie Mexico recently pretty handily.
It was a fun set.
Yeah. So I don't know. Gooms could make a run in losers, but he might also have to play a Falco gauntlet too, and I'm not sure if he's amazing the Falco matchup, but
Yeah, that seems to be tough.
yeah. Well, losers in every pool is a great mystery. Many people.
This
could
entire
make it out of
tournament is a great
losers.
mystery.
This
Yeah.
whole, I think literally all of our predictions are going to be wrong.
Yeah,
I
I
think-
mean,
I
there's
think
like a
about a
very
third.
realistic chance that that's the case.
Yeah.
I
Like
don't.
a chance that like
How many
even
people are
know.
here? Like 200 or something like that. I don't think there's another 200-person tournament where all of our predictions would be wrong.
Yeah.
Like I think we'd luck into a couple, right? But all of these,
Yeah.
it seems
Yeah.
like they could go either way.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to pool
A4.
A4, where we got the aforementioned
Another one of our
powerful
favorites.
nut,
legendary
legendary
NUT.
nut.
Nut. Oh man, I could talk about nut forever, dude.
Yeah. All right. So let's someone else take this one.
yeah. Someone else go.
This
Okay,
kid's
I'll
this kid's
talk
not
about
allowed
Nut.
to talk about nut.
I'll talk about Nut. So Nut, very strong sheet from SoCal, recently ranked number 11 on the SoCal PR. I guess notably has an even record with West Balls 12-12 in the since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Very strong in a variety of matchups, except the Captain Face Roll matchup where he is very weak.
Well, it's tough to be good in the Captain Face Roll matchup.
Yeah, it's hard. But Nut has a decent matchup wise path to winner's side. Assuming he beats Joshua, he would probably get the winner of Mix Koopa Troopa, who are both Marth players. And then I think Nut's fairly strong against Marth, although he did lose to Umarth like 2 weeks ago at AngelCon. But otherwise,
He typically beats Kadoran, and I would say Kadoran's slightly better than
Yeah.
Mix and Koopa.
yeah, I think Nut is definitely favored against Mix and Koopa.
Mhm.
And then if he wins that, he would probably have the winner of .jpeg, the Marth player from Mexico, and YCZ6, the Samus and NorCal. And again, I think either of those matchups would be somewhat favorable for Nut.
Yeah. Out of the top
but-
seeds that we've seen so far, he definitely seems like he has the best path. Like I know that Zio's path seemed pretty good, but like Nut, like this is definitely one of the better brackets I think he could have gotten.
Yep, he
Ah.
doesn't have to deal with Spacies or Sheik. Or
Yeah, I mean,
Ice
he's
Cream.
very tough versus, very strong
Yeah,
versus
he's
any
very
of
good
those.
Spacies too, right?
Yeah,
So, but for Sheik, getting a bunch of Marths in a row is certainly
It's
Yeah.
pretty good for him.
nice. Yeah.
Then
But
the
the
second.
let's talk about
4 and 5.
4 and 5 a little bit. JPEG and YCZ. I think that'll be an interesting matchup. JPEG has pretty strong results in Mexico, but I
He's
don't know
alright.
how much Samus practice he gets.
There's not really a Samus in Mexico that he plays, I don't think. I can't think of any
No
notable.
one close to the level of YCZ, so
no,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
and no
So,
one close
I
to
don't
the
know how
brain of YCZ.
Close
Of
to
course.
the ideas level of YCZ.
Yeah. The 6 is the number of brains he has.
Yeah, that makes sense. And YCZ has a lot of Marth practice too. NorCal has Nintendo, it has Umarth, Lego, etc., etc. There's plenty of Marths for him to play against. and he's, I think, pretty competent at the Marth matchup. So who knows? We could see him beating JPEG. But I think neither of them are favored against Nut.
Yeah, it's all about
I
who
mean,
wants to lose to Nut at this point.
Yeah, that's what the whole tournament is like.
Yeah, you
anyway.
could just say that about the entire tournament.
Nut is just too good, you know. Let's look at the other side. So the second seed in this pool is Ryobeat, the Tri-State Peach. Historically been pretty close to top 100 for like 2 years now,
Yeah,
but hasn't quite broken into the top 100 ranking. But has been, posted solid results.
yeah, he
most of the
went
time.
on Ty at the Big House.
Yep, he did beat Ty at the Big House. He had some recently pretty good tournaments in Tri-State. Got ranked, I think, 5th in New York City. So certainly was on an upswing for a while. Recently, maybe not so much, but like in the last, 2 weeks to a month, maybe not so much. But his winter 2019 was pretty strong. He would probably play the winner of Danny Phantom and Holka.
Danny Phantom, #1 in Wisconsin. Fox main, he's pretty solid. Has a win on Michael this year, and goes back and forth with O'Reilly, so he could definitely give Ryobeat a run for his money.
He certainly could. Although I think the best Peach in Wisconsin is probably a far cry from Ryobeat. So
Yeah,
probably.
Who knows?
Ryobeat is really interesting because he is definitely one of the more I don't know if I want to call him ideas heavy, because I think that describes like Leon. Like Leon's play is very chaotic.
Right.
Yeah, he definitely, he's good at implementing a lot of the tools that Peach has that I don't think are used a lot. I know he's a big proponent of like Q drop and stuff like that, so he'll get people with like down smash out of shield and other really wacky options that not a lot of Peaches are implementing. So I definitely think that having to play a Peach like that could be very interesting if you don't normally play Peaches often. So I'd probably favor Ryobeat on this one.
Yeah, I think I would too. On the other side, 3 and 6, the seeds are third seed is Panda from Florida. I think he's number 9 in Central Florida.
He's 9.
Yeah, Central Florida is notably a very top-heavy region, but Panda and Croto, the 9 and 10 there, are, I think, a decent cut above the rest of the PR below them.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Panda also spent some time in Washington last year, correct?
And he was ranked, I believe, number 4 there, behind their 3 top 100 players, Bladewise, Conmaster, and Iceman.
I don't know if he ever got a win on Bladewise while he was there, but I know that he had a couple different set wins on Iceman, and I believe he's beaten Ka when he was there. I believe he beat Conmaster.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might have beat him once.
I don't think he was like positive anywhere close to that, but I believe he has set wins on there.
Yeah,
a set win.
Definitely very strong Fox player.
So Zach Fair is an interesting opponent. Sorry to cut you off, but I just wanted to say that Zach Fair is kind of an interesting opponent. Griffin, I know that you said that he switched mains recently.
Not. I guess it's been at least a year now. He used to be a Puff main, and then I'm not actually entirely sure what made him switch, but he's pretty much entirely Ice Climbers now, since the past year or so. And he actually ended up getting. Oh, sorry.
I think it was the sweet feeling of making Null salty.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they do have a certain power. Like Jigglypuff and Ice Climbers is kind of like. You have to have a very thick skin, I think, to play those two characters.
Yeah.
Because you garner hatred from everyone.
A very particular person.
But it actually is an interesting, if you keep both characters at like the relatively same skill level, Jigglypuff generally does pretty well versus Ice Climber's harder matchups, like Peach or maybe like Samus or like weird floaties. Probably not Fox, but you get what
Fox
you can
and
take.
Falcon are probably still a little bit hard.
Yeah. But so he was ranked in SoCal the period previous to the PR that just was released. He was ranked like 21, I want to say. And despite not being ranked this period, he still has wins over like Nut and like
Ew.
yeah, I want to say yeah. And so he's definitely like someone to look out for. He beat Eddie Mexico. Actually, wait, did you just say that? You cut out. Is that?
Oh, I know. I said he beat you.
Oh, that's funny because I like just avoided that. But when you said that, yeah, he's one of the one of the few SoCal players who defeats me in winners finals before I decide to defeat them, I suppose.
Wow.
Akin to
Wow.
Owl, as mentioned before. But no, yeah. So he
Good over in
clearly,
France.
yeah. So clearly, like if you play Sheik, generally pretty good matchup for him. But Panda's not Sheik. So that might be hard. Did Panda play Army at Shine? Does anyone know offhand?
I don't think so. Panda has good Drunk Sloth practice. I know he's beaten Drunk Sloth at least once. Not super recently, but he's definitely beaten Drunk Sloth before. So he's not terrible at the matchup.
Okay, I feel like I remember seeing Army play. Army didn't lose, but I feel like I remember
Army
seeing.
won 2-0 over Panda at Shine
Okay.
2018.
I
Oh, let's
remember.
go.
I watched that in person, and I swear Panda was winning literally the whole time until he got wobbled like 3 stocks in a row.
Oh no.
But
All right.
what that makes me feel like is I feel like if he gets that close to Army's obviously a better player than Zach Fair. So
Yeah.
given the fact that he also has experience with Drunk Sloth, it might be a really hard draw for Zach Fair. And
Yeah.
even if Zach Fair wins, he most likely has to play a Peach, and so that would be hard.
I personally don't even think Zach Fair is going to make it to Panda.
Yeah, he could.
I
lose to
I
John
think he's
Mari.
going to. Yeah, strong AZ Yoshi. So
Yeah, that could
I
be.
think there's definitely fear for that. Because Yoshi Ices is not a good matchup for Ices historically.
Yeah. Who knows?
All right. So, is there anyone else we want to? This is kind of an interesting pool because I think there's a lot of strong players who like Mix, and I think Koopa, who's like devotion to melee right now might not be the highest it's ever been, so it's really
I
tough to
think
call.
Koopa is actually on an upswing in terms of time spent playing the game recently. So
That's cool.
I would agree with that.
I think most people know Koopa as a Mario man, but one of the things that people might have missed is that it's been like a year since he's entered with Mario in tournament, correct?
At least
Probably
a year.
more.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so he goes Marth now. So if there's any listeners who might know him as the Mario main, yeah, it's for a while he's been entering as Marth, so that could be an interesting thing to see. For this pool, I probably am gonna say Nut solidly makes it out, and then I want to go Panda for some reason.
I'm
with you on that.
Panda.
I think
I'm going Nut and Panda.
it's
personally.
like my brain is saying Ryobi, but my heart is saying Panda. So I'll go Nut Panda.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Griffin,
Yeah.
are you in? You're in on the Panda Nut.
The issue is that Ryobi has been making tweets recently about his struggles with certain types of Fox mains.
Interesting.
And solely based off that, it makes me even more confident that Ryobi will win, purely because he's thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that's my head says that it's him. I think that's the smart choice, but my heart goes with Panda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not sure.
It's a tough one.
I think I would also pick Panda, but Robbie has definitely he beat Darktooth this past PR season.
Yeah.
He's no slouch against Fox. For
No,
sure.
he's definitely very good.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll pick Robbie. I'll go Nut Robbie.
Okay.
But Panda has, I think Panda Robbie might even be like an even matchup, honestly.
Yeah. All right. So for pool B2, we've got BBB himself as
B1?
the top seed. B1. Sorry. Yeah. All right. Who put Bobby Big Balls?
At
not
B1, we have B3.
They should have put him in pool B3. Whoever seeded this is horrible.
My B.
Yeah. Might be too.
I think.
Might be one.
Okay. Well.
Sorry.
Well, anyways, Bobby is the second seed of the tournament, I believe.
Yep.
He's been doing very well in this first third of the year.
Yeah.
He's turned a corner. He turned the corner on Jerry, real hard. I used to get dominated by him, but now they're a lot more back and forth.
Yeah.
And he has
sorry. Go on.
No, you can go.
I thought you were done.
No, you can go. No, you can go. It's fine. It's fine.
All right. I was just gonna say that Bobby's definitely one of those players who I thought was very inconsistent last year, was showing a lot of potential because he was having good wins against certain people. Like he beat Absent Page at a local last year, but was having really inconsistent tournament results. Like he would be constantly losing to people who I think are below his level. And this year, I really think that's something that could still happen to him. But this is one of the bigger improvements that I've seen is he's losing to less people who are less random losses and is having consistently better wins. So I definitely think he's one of the most improved of the year so far for that level.
Yep. He's
Agree.
certainly a strong contender for top 100 this year.
Oh yeah, I think right now with Melee how it is, I think he is almost certainly top 100. I'd say he actually, yeah, I would say he's almost shoo-in to make it.
Bro,
Agree.
I guess let's talk about his path. So first, he probably will get Rice, the former #1 in Wisconsin, now lives in NorCal. Was an Icy's main, now co-mains Fox, because Fox has had notably weaker results than his Ice Climbers, but it's a new character. He might go Ice Climbers this tournament. I'm not really sure.
I could see that, but
I
Bobby's pretty good versus Ice Climbers
But yeah,
anyway.
Bobby
so.
Yeah.
Balls has lots of Ice Climbers experience.
Bobby 3-0'd
many
Boyd
years over.
at Pound.
Usually beats Sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's positive on Sharks. Usually beats up Frostbite. I don't know about Cool Line though.
I don't know.
Oh.
You know how I feel about Cool Line. I think Cool Line would win this whole goddamn thing, dude.
Yeah. Cool Line would be the 1 seed easily.
He won.
Well, we'll never know.
He wouldn't, but he would win, so it'd be fine.
Yeah,
as long as he stayed away from Curve.
As long as he stayed away from.
I got to talk with him
Curve
at Pound. And he said there's no one at the National Arcadian who feels afraid of. And then I was like, Curve, and he was like, okay, you're right. There's one person.
The man himself.
But yeah, next he might run into Violence. So this is an interesting matchup. Violence is old school Samus player from NorCal, now in Arizona. Bobby Big Balls got 3-0'd pretty badly by Wevins, the Florida Samus, a week ago.
And he also has a couple losses to Moss this year. It's one of his few lower level losses at the moment.
So,
and Violence beat Army this year. He's been on the up.
And Violence beat Army. So what do you want? Can't complain too much. I think Falco is actually Violence did say that he's a little bit less confident in his Falco matchup because Arizona doesn't have that many good Falcos other than Axe, who is very weird. But on the other hand, Violence is a solid player, has been playing a long time. Any Samus should hopefully be able to do some things against Spacey. So there's a little bit of upset potential here, but Bobby is certainly still favored. Next round, he'll probably have the winner of Umarth and Chase. This could be interesting. Umarth Falco, always a scary matchup for Falco if that happens. But I don't feel like Falco is one of Umarth's stronger matchups.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. There's definitely a lot of Spacey killer Marths in the bracket in the tournament.
Yeah.
But
it's not really. He's more of a floaty killer. Marth.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those Marths. It's like I guess to equate it to a top 100 player, it's more like a Calvar, right?
Yeah.
And Bobby has defeated Calvar this year.
Yeah.
I actually feel pretty confident about Bobby's bracket as having Sam at like a floaty and then into Marth. That might be tough for what people see Bobby, but
Yeah.
I think I feel pretty
It's probably
confident.
not as bad as it might sound matchup wise.
No, I think he has a pretty good shot at this. His way of playing getting hit versus Marth is very good. Like his slide off game is like one of the most like it's one of the things in the forefront of his play. I
I've
think if
heard
you were to
he's
watch,
polished his defense a lot after playing against Zane so many times.
yeah. So I actually feel
Um,
pretty confident about him making it out in winners.
well, the other interesting thing though is Umarth has to play Jace the round before. If Jace wins that, Jace has beaten Westballs recently,
Yeah,
which it was a local, maybe it wasn't that important, but like beating Westballs at Falco is like insane.
Very difficult.
Zio's done it.
Zio has done it once out of a lot of times.
He's done it though. That's the important part.
Sure. I don't know. Jace might actually be scarier than Umarth for Bobby.
Yeah,
It's interesting. I didn't really think about that. I feel like Bobby's still pretty favored against Jace.
yeah.
Probably.
I like I said, I feel pretty confident about him. If we want to get into the bottom part of the bracket, I think that's a little more interesting though.
Ooh.
Indeed.
We
It's
can let Griffin talk
super
about his boy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Griff can definitely talk.
Looky here. It looks like we have Kadoran as the second seed in the pool. Looks like 15 overall in the tournament. Kadoran is Marth player from San Diego originally, goes to UC Irvine, so he spends most of the year in Irvine, go to Irvine locals, but goes back and forth between San Diego relatively frequently. Kadoran, definitely newer school player. He started playing, I want to say, less than 3 full years ago. He is a PPMD connoisseur almost. If you check PPMD's Marth, like Ask Marth thread, every single page has a Kadoran question or response. Like not even joking. Like,
that thread.
yeah, you can like definitely just like read that, go through like the most recent pages. You're guaranteed to see a Kadoran post. And he's had really good results like very recently, notably being positive on Squid in region, on the Orange County.
2-0 on West
Positive.
Balls.
Yeah, positive on West Balls too.
Positive on West Balls, positive on Army actually. They've only played
Curve.
Yes, so he's definitely someone to look out for. He thinks the Falco matchup for Marth is like unlosable as Marth.
I can tell he thinks that. Based
Yeah.
on how he plays it.
Yeah, and which is a point of contention, I guess, arguably. I think most people in current meta say Marth has a way easier time to win than Falco does. But I think that's a really important mentality thing, especially as a player coming up, because like if you're just confident in yourself, regardless of like how you like approach the matchup, being confident just makes you play better, and it makes you like be okay with being down a stock, for example. Because if he's down 1-3, I guarantee you Kadoran doesn't think he's going to lose. He's like, oh yeah, Falco, like whatever, dude. Like I'm just gonna down tilt him. I'm just gonna like take laser side B, grab him. And he's very positive on Squid. We already talked about that and his wins on West Balls. He's actually ranked above Squid in our Orange County PR, mostly because he just wins the head-to-head pretty convincingly. He does have a bit of a weakness to Puff, most notably. He has losses to DD and Blue Buddy. Maybe not super great at the Marth Ditto either, but Falco in particular, it's like for sure something he's good at. Which, if he makes it to Bobby, which he might not because he has some hard opponents in front of him, but if he makes it to Bobby, I don't know, man. I would put some hard money on Kadoran versus Bobby Big Balls if they both make it there.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting thing to say. I don't know if I thought that far ahead in bracket, but yeah, that
I didn't really either.
But before
That would be a
Kadoran, his first match is maybe a Marth Ditto against ranked Chicago player Tech Death. So,
or the legendary Leroy
The
Jenkins
legendary Leroy Jenkins.
Yes.
defeated Kadoran.
Yes, in ladder recently.
Yes.
Kadoran would like me to tell you that he does not try in ladder, but Smash
You can
GG
tell me.
does not care about that.
Well, so
Smash GG does not care.
how confident do we feel on him versus Marth? I know Sheik, because I know that he has a Sheik win, a very good Sheik win.
Yeah, he has a couple wins on me. I believe our record was 2-13 last period.
Yeah, now it's 2-17, I believe.
Yeah.
After
So he definitely, I think he has Okami wins also when he goes back to San Diego.
Yeah.
He has at least one nut win. I don't believe it's in his favor, but I think he can do it against Sheik. It's just that like the matchup, like playstyle matters a lot. I think Kadoran is very swing heavy at times. He's not afraid to just F smash you, but if you play like a more defensive Sheik, F smash is really bad.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how Far or Ben play, which are the projected people that Kadoran would play to make it to top 32 winner side. I don't really know how they play in general or how they play versus Marth, but if they're a bit more defensive, I think Kadoran could definitely struggle. But if they're someone who also swings, I think Kadoran will beat them up, personally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I
Far
think
and Ben are both pretty interesting Sheik mains from a somewhat underexposed regions. So
far from Mexico, and Ben, the effective #1 in Minnesota right now.
yeah, with Absent Page's recent outburst
Absence.
causing him to be banned from his local tournaments.
Yes. So they're both really good Sheiks, I would say. That's very interesting. I don't know who's going to win that because I don't really see either of them play similarly leveled Sheiks in the Ditto. So
I have no idea, honestly.
yeah.
But Ben, at least, well, I'm sure both of them have a decent amount of practice. Ben, in his region, has 100 grand, Mikala Man, those kinds of guys who are, top 10 in Minnesota. So I'm sure he plays against Marth pretty often. But they're probably not quite Kadoran level, who is able to sometimes take sets off of Mr. Face Roll.
Mr. Face Roll.
Mr. Captain.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to just circumvent that whole thing by saying Kodorin's going to beat whoever wins that. So that's my pick for getting. I'm going to pick the lame one and just say it's going to be Kodorin and Bobby to make it out. I don't know what anyone else has to think about that.
I think it's going to be Bobby and Ben.
Oh.
I have high faith in Ben.
All right. California boys, what do you think?
I actually have a question. Do you happen to know if Ben or Far chain grab in the Ditto?
Oh.
I've literally never watched either of them in the Ditto.
Because
I've never seen them in the Ditto.
I think that basically determines who wins.
Ow.
Because if one of them chain grabs and the other one doesn't, like, how would you lose is basically what I'm thinking. As a Sheik main, it's just something that crossed my mind.
Shroom beat Swedish once in that, where Swedish chain grabbed and he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible, but...
Not to be BM, but I think Sakamoto defeated Captain Face Roll once.
Damn.
Okay, we can count the successful chain grabs in that match, too. I'll get back to you to see how good I was.
I heard Sakamoto re-grabbed a number of times.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking, like, when you see European Sheiks come to North American majors and they get, like, Dreffened, for example.
That's certainly true.
I'm just thinking...
That's called the Android.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, hypothetically, my opinion of, like, Mexico and, like, sort of South and, like, Latin America in general is that they're, like, cool players who do, like, these cool things, and, like, how do you have a Sheik in that region that chain grabs in the Ditto? There's no way, right? So Minnesota, maybe Ben chain grabs, and then Far is no chance. That's what I'm thinking.
That's certainly possible. That's a good theory. We will
Good
see.
theory. Yeah, we will see.
We shall see.
Yes. So yeah, I picked Bobby and Ben.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for Bobby and Kadoran.
Nice.
Yeah, same. And then
Awesome.
Kadoran destroys Bobby Big Balls. It's not even close.
Damn.
All right,
Sorry,
so
Bobby.
let's move on. We only have a few pools left, so we can probably get this
Yep.
done relatively quickly. So let's
Okay.
move on talking about pool B2 featuring number 101, Free Palestine.
Free Palestine, formerly known as Millhouse, is number 2 in Columbus right now, behind Dreffen. He has multiple wins on Dreffen. He's beaten Westballs this year at Smash Camp, as well as Zio.
Mm-hmm.
So he has some solid.
Seed.
Yeah, so he has a solid wins under his belt this year. So he definitely is pretty good. He has an interesting path. First, he's probably gonna have to play the winner of Kami and Voorhees. Kami, a SoCal Sheik, went by Norby for a little bit. Voorhees, one of the best from Indiana. I think he's number 2, behind Rick,
Yeah.
who's top 100. So who does Voorhees play? He plays like Fox and Pikachu. It's like a weird combination.
That's right.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, so I think Free Palestine should have it pretty solidly there.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at the Sheik Ditto. He's had multiple wins on Dreffen this year already.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident in his ability to make it to the end of this pool. Maybe not make it out of winners. I think that he's still favored.
Yeah. So his next opponent would likely be Scheist or Casper. Scheist, number 5 in Arizona, plays Falcon. Casper,
Formerly number 1 in Oklahoma.
Yep, formerly number 1. Casper recently ranked in SoCal, Fox player. Free Palestine is probably pretty favored over Scheist, I would guess.
I would say
Scheist
so.
Being, Free Palestine having a Zio win recently, and Scheist living in Arizona, where there are notably not very many good Sheiks. Casper could possibly be a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But how does Casper do against Nut?
He is 0-9, I think.
Ooh, okay. Well, maybe not.
Okay, yeah, so this might be a pretty good bracket for Frill Palace.
Full fouls.
Frill Palace for Free Palestine to make it out.
Yep. On the other side,
It gets a little more interesting. This one's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of ways that this can go.
Yep. So the second seed in this pool is Kevbot, NorCal Fox, recently ranked number 10 in NorCal, notably above Ralph, who's top 100. So I guess similar to Zio and Nut in SoCal. But Kevbot has had an extremely strong year. He has wins on basically all of the active NorCal players. He's really good against, I think, Marth, and maybe Fox. But his path here is kind of interesting. He has probably an Ice Climbers into Friend from SoCal into either an Ice Climbers or Samus, Dr. Light or Gumi. And then I think he's pretty solid against Ice Climbers as well. I think he's beaten Toucan a number of times. I don't remember what their head-to-head looks like, but I would favor him over Dr. Light and Gumi. He's also solid against Samus. Usually beats YZZ. The 3 and 6 are Croto and Vista. Croto is number 10 in Central Florida. We mentioned him earlier. He's a Sheik player. Very solid. Vista is number 1 in St. Louis. Plays Falcon. Has a bunch of good Midwest wins from this past year.
Beaten Zamu, Iori, just the works.
Yeah, so certainly has demonstrated his prowess in the Midwest and is looking to expand his hit list. Chrono vs Vista could be very interesting. Sheik Falcon is probably a Sheik favorite matchup, but
Crotto has wins on Gatsu and Smuckers.
Chrono
he
is
definitely has
also
shown prowess.
definitely accomplished in the matchup as well. So it could be tough for Vista to overcome him. But I don't know. We haven't seen Vista play outside the middle.
Yeah, we
Could
have.
surprise us. And then if it's the 2 and 3 seeds meeting to make it out, it's going to be Kevbot versus Crotto. Kevbot, I don't think Sheik is one of his stronger matchups, but he has scored wins over Spark and Outlandis recently. So he's not bad at the matchup for sure.
I think one of the things about New Age
Uh,
Foxes is that a lot of them are really good at that particular matchup. I think there are a lot of young Foxes who are really good at Sheik. I don't think that's Kevbot's strong suit, but
Interestingly, Kevbot is like good versus Marth for some reason.
Yeah, it's really weird, right? I feel pretty confident in him in general as a player, so I'd be willing to say that he probably has the ability to do it. But
yeah, I guess one other storyline about Kevbot actually is that his last month has been uncharacteristically bad.
that was what I was just about to say.
Yeah. So Kevbot, his first probably from October last year to March this year, was extremely strong in NorCal. I don't know if he had any unranked losses. Maybe one or two against the top Arcadians, but was very positive against a lot of the PR, and he got ranked number 10 now, right? And maybe had an argument for maybe one spot higher even. But in the last month, he's had a bunch of weird losses to not that great Arcadians. And I don't know, he just seems to be a little shakier recently. So something might have happened. I'm not really sure. But
yeah, I was
not sure how he'll perform.
I was thinking about that. I was factoring that into it, and for that reason, I think I'm going to pick Free Palestine and Crudo to make it out. But I think Kevbot has a pretty good losers run, just because, like I said, he is an extremely solid player, especially of people these tier. So I definitely think that this is something where he can do well at. So that's
if he loses to Crudo, he might end up, I believe, beat him. It might have been a while ago, but I think when Kevbot went to SoCal less than 6 months ago, he lost to Casper.
I think he did actually.
Interesting.
And recently at EnjoyCon, he was 3-0'd by Null also. So
yeah,
well, that wasn't a 3-0. It was a reverse 3-0 that wasn't put in right in the bracket.
It was recorded wrong. Okay.
Yeah, it was like Game 5 last hit actually.
Okay, I feel less bad about how Kevbot's been doing then. That's good.
All right.
I personally would pick Free Palestine and Kevbot.
Yeah. I'm also gonna go Free Palestine and Kevbot. I want to.
It seems
NorCal brethren.
Yeah.
That seems like the safe choice. Okay, so the second to last pool we have here in pools is B3. We have Curve as the top seed in this pool. Recently power ranked in SoCal. Was this the first time? This was the first time he was PR'd, correct? This season?
The second time.
The second time?
It was the second time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he went from 19 to 14.
Gotcha.
Yep. Which is,
it might not sound like a lot if people, like the 19th PR player to the 14th PR player, but in SoCal, that definitely means a lot. Really shows how much he's been improving recently.
Curve definitely believes he should be higher.
He's in the fiction school of thought.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so he's got an interesting bracket for the most part. I think that winner of Shoyo Noir is pretty good for Curve, but John Wick could be interesting considering the Arizona connection that John Wick has.
Yeah,
being from there, I said that in a weird way.
Yeah, 4 seed John Wick at this pool is first of all a Marth. Which is easily Curve's worst matchup.
Yes.
And second of all, it's from Arizona, the land of weird characters, and I'm sure he has some experience against I Love Bagels and maybe some other Luigi's in Arizona. So that could certainly be very dangerous. But on the other hand, John Wick in the round before that might have to play against Dan's Demand, a fairly strong Kansas Sheik, previously from Vegas and Connecticut or something. John Wick, I don't think is very good against Sheik.
Oh, he's very lopsided. He's very good against Fox, Falco, and even Falcon, which normally Marts aren't that good at. But
Yep.
he's really, really weak in the Sheik matchup, I would say.
Yep.
Yeah. John Wick probably like in the tier of players who are about, I don't know, I might be overrating him, but I definitely think he's a top 150 to 200 player or so, and probably has one of the more wild swings in like skill for matchups.
Yeah, like if you put him against a lower end of top 100 Spacey, I'd probably favor John.
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
favor John pretty heavily. Like if you put him against a middle top 50 Spacey,
Like
I
it might
think
be
he had-
even, right? If you put him against
Yeah.
say like even someone as good as like Darktooth or something, I don't know who would win, right?
like when he played Moki, he beat Moki really solidly.
Yeah, Moki's
for example.
yeah. But if you put him against Nut or someone, I would suspect Nut would win 90% of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, no chance.
No.
So him versus Dan's Demand. If he can get past Dan's Demand, I think he has a really good shot at beating Curve. But otherwise, I have my doubts that he could even beat Dan.
Yeah, I kind of want to mention just at that part of the bracket, it looks like Dance Man is projected to play Chalknator, even the round before
That could
that.
be interesting too.
Ice Climbers player who has played a lot against Spark. So, I mean, he definitely knows the matchup. I don't really know what their history is as far as, like,
Yeah.
records.
After a while, Spark just won every time. But that's Chalknator is the original reason that Spark is so good at the ice matchup.
Mhm.
Because, Spark was this little kid who just would go to his local SenCal tournaments and get owned Chalknator. Because Chalknator's been playing, like, forever, right?
Chalknator's been playing for a very long time.
Extremely old school. Was ranked in NorCal, like, more than 10 years ago.
Yeah. And, like,
But, yeah, but he's
On
definitely
the-
been really inactive recently. I think Dance Man might, I don't know. It basically depends on how rusty Chalknator is.
Does Dan go a different character for Ices?
I was going to say, I think Dan might go Peach versus Ices. I forget.
Oh, that's possible. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
I don't know.
Most people say that that's, like, one of Sheik's killer matchups that, like, she just loses. I personally think Sheik destroys Ice Climbers.
I don't think she loses. I don't think she destroys Ice Climbers, but
I think it's not even close. But
He goes Fox sometimes.
Yeah, interesting.
okay.
I just looked it up.
But it's definitely unforgiving, that's for sure. Sheik
Yeah.
being one of the only characters that you can hit Nana away, and as long as she lives, you can just Sopo chain grab Sheik until Nana waddles over, and then you just wobble her. It's pretty brutal.
Yep.
Waddle
to wobble.
Nana definitely a waddler.
Big waddler.
So, and the other side of the bracket, I keep saying that things are interesting. This is the National Arcadian. Everything is interesting. I'm talking about this like, like there are matches that aren't interesting.
Yeah, we got to talk about how like literally like round 2 of every bracket is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Round 2 of every bracket would probably be like the match to make it out
I
at a national.
because I was
Yeah.
gonna say
Make it out of
like,
round 1 pools.
talking about like a rookie versus big kid, but like I don't even know a rookie versus Slow King or big kid versus Logos, but then you could go Logos versus Android Zero or like Slow King JoJo. I think there's so
Yeah.
many that could go anyway. Like
Yeah.
Even Pikachu v Money. I like that matchup.
GG money. That better be on stream.
all right, dude, this is gonna be like a 10-hour podcast if I talk about every Pikachu v Money level match.
Unfortunately, we're unable to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about a rookie, I guess. So he'll probably beat the winner of Pikachu v Money. Not too worried there. Slow King versus JoJo might be very interesting. I don't know how to compare these guys.
Yes, I haven't really seen Slow King versus Sheik, he lost to Ben when they played pretty solidly, and he doesn't really have Sheiks where he plays. He has like Ifter, I think that's how you say it, who's a peach,
Hmm.
and he's beat Zoso at Big House, who's a
That's,
Marth.
yeah, I think he probably had some experience against like Shifty from Nebraska.
That would make sense.
Do you know if he played? So he played Ben recently, right? Do you know who
Yeah.
won that?
Oh, Ben won pretty solidly, 2-0.
Okay.
Slow King #1 in Iowa right now, I believe.
Yeah.
JoJo is solid NorCal Arcadian.
Yep. So JoJo is just below rank level. Been a long time ago. So he's been playing a pretty long time. He recently got back into the game. He's been posting decent results in NorCal, beating some ranked players. I think he plays a pretty like smart style, but doesn't hit that hard. Maybe reminds you of like a bad shroomed. But I think that playing a smart style against Falco can certainly work out, even if you're like you might not need to tech chase that much if you can, get them off stage. So,
Yeah, you don't really need to. Sometimes you just hit Falco, and as long as you roll from the ledge, he dies. Sometimes that's just how it goes.
Yeah, that can definitely happen. So I feel like this is like kind of hard to call.
Yeah.
I don't know. But what else did we mention? Logos Android Zero. This is also a very early match.
Very early. These are all ridiculous.
Logos is #1 in Utah. Plays. I think he's pretty good against Falcon. Honestly, Android Zero is like a Falcon from San Diego who's ranked in San Diego. Notably, models his, or at least used to model his play exactly on Wizrobe, and like hits really, really hard. Good attack chasing. Has lots of flow charts. But I think recently he's been trying to expand his style a little, and isn't doing as many purely Wizrobe things. I think it's had like mixed results, but I don't know. Even though it's Falcon, and I think Lo is very solid versus the like Mountain West Falcons. This could be interesting if he gets ground wobbled by a tech chaser.
Yeah.
Ground wobble and air wobble.
Winner of that probably plays Big Kid.
Yeah, Big Kid is a very interesting player. He has a puff main. He does not play like most puffs you will ever see. He goes for crazy things all the time.
That's
and
what
that
people
kinda
always
leads him
say
to be
about
like-
puffs. I've heard this about like
No, but
20
Big Kid-
different puffs,
no,
and
like-
they all play the same.
No, but Big Kid is actually insane, dude. And it's because of that, his play style, I would say, that leads him to have very inconsistent results. Like he'll have moments where he'll like beat Slox and Lint like pretty solidly, but then he'll have moments where he'll lose to just like lower level players that he has no right losing to based on his peaks. So it's interesting to see what he'll do at this tournament.
Yeah. He's probably still favored over Logos, but yeah, I don't know. It could go. Maybe he'll, miss some heavy reads and get owned.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility when it comes to Big Kid. The winner of that will probably play a rookie. I would assume. A rookie would be favored over Slow King and JoJo.
A rookie is favored over both of them.
Yeah.
And then a rookie versus Big Kid or Logo sounds pretty interesting. I don't remember last time a rookie played a good puff.
So actually, a rookie, he could have played a puff in between this and now, but a rookie actually got 5th at the last National Arcadian, losing to Michael and Fizzleboy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The Fizzleboy set was a good set.
That was close. That one was game 5, and but Michael, he did get 3-0'd by. So that would be interesting to see, considering what you said about Big Kid. Definitely his playstyle is conducive to having really results that can vary. But I think I'm going to pick Big Kid to make it out, and I'm also going to make the bold pick of saying that Curve will somehow get out. I don't know if he's going to beat John
Ooh.
Wick. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he's getting out.
Wow.
I think I'm gonna pick Big Kid as well, because you know how I am with Big Kid.
Spiritual
But
connection, as you said multiple times.
the spiritual connection. But Curve is. I want to say Curve's gonna get out. It's weird. I don't think he's bad versus Sheik. I think he can definitely beat Dan.
No,
And
I think he's
think
pretty
Dan's gonna
solid for
beat John
Sheik.
Wick. So I think I'm good. Yeah, he loses to Nut a lot, but that's Nut. And
Yeah,
he beats Kami like all the time, destroys Kami. So I think I'm gonna say Curve and Big Kid. I'm gonna do it.
awesome. Anyone else?
Hmm.
Uh, I'm thinking John Wick and Big Kid. I just think John Wick is going to beat Curve.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, that's definitely fair.
Well, if you think you could beat Dan's the man.
I don't think
Yeah.
Dance Demand's beating Chalknader, dude.
Oh.
Ooh.
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 Just randomly. I don't know. I just feel like it's funny. Also, a random note, there is definitely beef between Dance Demand and Arizona.
Yep.
And John Wick is Arizona, and there are at least like 10 Arizona players
That'd
coming
be
to
a
this
loud
tournament,
crowd.
That's a really good point. I didn't think about that.
which
That's
means
actually
and
That's
so
a
AZ, pretty notorious for having rowdy crowds, rowdy chants, but having 10 of them, or maybe even more, we didn't really count, but it's at least one per pool for sure, might give every AZ player a buff depending on, how
might.
into it they get.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so even if John
I
Wick
think
plays
they'll be
Dan
rooting
Demand,
strongly against Dan's.
yes, and so right, even especially in that case. So I think like there's definitely a chance for AZ to pop off literally and figuratively, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's certainly true.
all right.
Yeah,
Well,
I think I'm also gonna pick John Wick, and I'm actually gonna go on a limb and pick a rookie.
that's a smart
the other
pick.
one.
Yeah, that's still a pretty safe pick.
That's
Well,
fine.
yeah. If if you said that before, I said I think I might have picked John Wick, but I'm gonna stick with
Yeah.
my original
No,
answer on
this is
this one.
interesting though. Curve right now is probably the best Luigi in the world.
Yeah, he is.
Maybe
Uh,
Master, one of them.
Maybe Cobb. It's one of them. I think Curve's better than Eddie for sure, and I think he's probably better than a bait right now too.
Yeah, it's quite possible.
Yeah, Curve might be the best Luigi in the world.
He might be.
Yeah,
But
that a crazy thing to say,
he
but I don't think it's
sure needs to work on his Marth matchup.
yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how the definitely the best Luigi who's not top 100.
Oh, for sure,
100%.
Not even
Not
close.
even close.
So
Yeah. Sorry, Jaraiden.
Ja Raiden, the famous wobbler.
You're not wrong.
Anyways, the final pool.
Yeah, we got one more left.
The first seed, Kikilmiknidator.
Yes.
Okay, that was pretty good.
I have no idea who that is.
McNudator.
I have no idea who that is.
Notably, this person himself came into the Melee Stats podcast and asked, "Why is Kuel whatever seated so high? What a fraud!" I got a little thrown for a loop when he said that. But this number 8 seed overall, Huang, the Michigan Icy's Fox, historically has had very strong results in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
At a recent regional, he defeated Morse Code and Jake and Shaken with his Fox, and then beat KGH with his Ice Climbers.
Yeah, because I don't know. I can't believe he beat Jake and Shaken with his Fox.
Yeah, that's that's definitely one of Jake and Shaken's matchups, right?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Jake and Shaken
Jake and
has
Shaken.
wins on Lucky and Mike Hayes this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't beat Quang though.
He was unable to beat Quang's Fox, secondary Fox of an Ice Climbers player.
Which is crazy. Quang also
Actually, it's
go on.
a tertiary of a Yoshi main. It's the tertiary of a Yoshi main, actually.
Yeah. Sorry. On the Michigan coin sheet, Quang is currently listed as a Yoshi main because I think that's the character he's gotten the most in recent locals.
Very interesting person right here.
Yeah,
I think
he's
just
an
like
interesting guy.
describing this Icy's main as beating a top 100 Marth with their Fox, and then going Yoshi at locals, changing their name. The very few things I know about Quang really throw me off about him.
It's so weird because he came into being as like the wobbler because he was like the quintessential thing for like Michigan not being good against wobbling because they banned it for so long. So you would think, oh, he probably can't play any other characters, but no, Quang's actually legit.
Not just a wobbler.
He's not just a wobbler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
His path starts with probably ACS, a Sheik. I believe he's a Sheik. I might be misremembering. Then he'll get Floats or CPU. I actually forgot who Floats played, so I just looked him up. I think he's a Fox.
Pretty sure he's been an up and coming AZ player. He had like a run out of nowhere at the AZ Arcadian, I believe, to like third or something.
Yeah, I think
So
he was. It looks like he was ranked in Arizona in the most recent PR. I don't know when this came out actually. Wait a second. I feel like this PR is really new. Okay, I actually have never seen this current Arizona PR before. For 8th.
okay, damn.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I just haven't seen this PR before. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I think it came out like in the last few days. Okay, so I think Quang is going to be favored against whoever wins between Floats and CPU. CPU, UCI Falco, who got second at one of the pretty stacked SoCal Arcadians. But I think Quang is pretty favored against both of them. And then he'll probably have to play the winner of Reeve Blue Buddy.
That's an interesting.
that's
an interesting one. You can go Wheat.
Yeah, I was gonna say that still is pretty interesting. I think Reeve has that relatively solidly. I don't really know his matchup experience with that, but
well, he was in the same region as Amida for a while. Amida
you're right.
came
Yeah, I
into-
forgot because Amita hasn't been playing a ton recently.
How does
And he's beaten Michael. He beat Michael at least once last year.
Yeah.
So
do we
Yeah.
know how Reeve did against
definitely-
like 4% in Fizzle Boy?
when did he? I don't know if he's ever played them really.
Okay. I feel like they should have played.
I
some
think
point,
they've.
I'm not
I,
sure.
Yeah, I think I remember them playing at some event, but I don't really remember the extent of it. And if it did happen, I don't know how, like if it's happened incredibly often.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
pretty confident in Reeves' ability
I
to
think
do
he's
that.
probably pretty solid against Puff. Blue Buddy on the other hand has beaten like Kadora.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be an interesting matchup. Reeve is probably favored. I guess maybe let's talk a little about Reeve. He's pretty well known by now, but he is seeded like a little bit, probably lower than people would expect.
Yeah, definitely seen social media say that.
Yeah, I think Owl was notably kind of outraged.
Yeah,
about
exactly.
his seeding. But I don't know. Compared to like the previous year, where Reeve had lots of interesting out of region results, like being SSAT, he's been relatively quiet recently. He's gone to Midwest regionals, where he's taken sets off of Rick and some other like good Midwest players. But yeah, I don't know. He's just been very quiet recently, it feels like. I suspect he's still very good, so...
Yeah. I think he'll probably do fine at this tournament. Him versus Quang's going to be very interesting to see if Quang will go Fox or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Going Fox into Marth is just like so weird.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
guess it's better than Icy's Marth.
maybe. Yeah.
I mean, he could go Yoshi.
Or it could go Yoshi.
Oh, he could go Yoshi.
The new Marth counter.
Oh my
That's
god.
so funny.
Quang's
I
a
don't.
legend.
That's so odd. I can't understand him. That's why I'm forced to say that he's gonna make this pull out of winners.
Because he could do anything.
He could do
Quang is
anything.
certainly a mystery. Quang
He
is
could do
definitely one of the most
anything.
mysterious players.
I think he's the most mysterious player at this tournament.
Yeah, even his tag is mysterious.
You're right.
I don't even know what it means.
I
I don't
think
think even he knows what it... In fact, I don't think he spelled his tag. He wrote KYUL whatever.
I think you're right. I think he has the most like what did you say? Was it what was the word exactly that you used to describe him?
Serious?
Yes. I think he is the most mysterious. That's such a great description of him.
Yeah, yeah.
Moving
Anyways,
moving on to the
uh,
bottom of the bracket, I think there's a little less mysterious Ices player.
yeah, significantly less mysterious.
Yeah, but also one who has a kind of a different tag as well. Birdman, also known as Diplomatic Toucan, an Ices main who does not go Fox from Hearth, who does not play Yoshi at locals.
He goes Falco at
He
locals.
goes Falco.
He goes
Holy
Falco at
shit.
locals. You're right.
Yeah,
Uh,
Toucan is ranked in NorCal. Been solid for a while.
yeah, we talked about
Also a high
powerful high
schooler.
schoolers. He's definitely
Yep.
one of them.
Yeah.
Uh,
He
Has had a good year. He defeated Squid at Smash Camp, which was
Yep.
pretty strong for him, and he does very well at his locals most of the time. Takes Spark really close.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
Spark
had
is
wins on
definitely one
Spark
of the
before, I
best
believe. Wins on Rocky.
matchup.
Yeah, he's beaten them before.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
had Spark before. Recently, he keeps losing Game 5 and gets really sad. But such is life sometimes.
I think he has a pretty tough bracket for what it is.
It might be, yeah.
Like, I don't really know how.
He probably will play 2 frames first. Who's a Pikachu, which is
Yeah.
not that tough.
No.
After that,
He'll be
yeah,
done
go
with
ahead.
that. No, I just said easy. Go.
After that, he'll probably play the winner of Pleasantries, BC Turtle. Okay, so the 3 is not part of Turtle. That's good to know.
It's not.
Beastly Turtle 3. Beastie Turtle 3.
BC Turtle.
Yeah, he actually
the Avatar.
he thought the word was beastie, not beastly, so he actually just made it Beastie Turtle.
Yeah. So he actually didn't know the therefore has a weird tag. Congrats.
Yeah.
I think I liked Aang the Avatar, actually.
I liked Aang the Avatar way better.
Just because I like Avatar.
Regardless.
Anyway, Pleasantries ranked Chicago Samus. BC Turtle is Fox Marth. I don't know who he goes against Samus.
I thought Beast Turtle was a Falco.
No, he's a Fox Marth.
Really?
You might be thinking of Benalox.
Oh, it might be.
Fox
Maybe.
Falcon.
Yeah. Pleasantries, BC Turtle. I don't know how this will go. I personally love Pleasantries. He is the best Samus at doing battlefield aerial interrupts. So that's his main claim to fame, the Samus community. He's definitely a very solid player, ranked pretty high in Chicago, has lots of wins. I would like to see Pleasantries win, but I'm not really sure.
Does he have
Birdman
fluid wins?
Yeah, I think he has. I think he might be positive on fluid. In fact,
Definitely beaten Fluid a fair amount.
yeah, I'm not sure how they're head to head, but he's definitely has plenty of fluid wins. So him versus Birdman should be interesting. On the other, Birdman is pretty strong against Samus too. He's usually positive on YCZ, who I think is also very good against Ice Climber.
Yeah, I think they're 1-1 this year. I don't know if they've played a lot outside of. I actually don't remember what tournament they played at.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
they played at the one tournament where they were using each other's tags.
Yeah,
that is true. And YCZ, that was fun.
I just don't remember the name of that tournament.
But I do remember some previous PR periods where I'm positive on YCZ, which I found very surprising.
Yeah.
Because YCZ is historically, very good against ice climbers.
Yeah.
On the other side of this bracket, we have Noel and Travioli.
Yes.
Noel, a solid SoCal Fox. He's been doing pretty good recently. Multiple wins on West Balls. I think multiple wins on Army too. He has at least one. He's positive on people like Curve and Kadoran. So he has some pretty strong results. And then Travioli is number 2 in St. Louis behind Vista, a Samus main, best known for beating up Zamu while Zamu was doing really good.
Yep. So Travioli is definitely very strong in the Fox matchup. Noel, actually, I think is pretty strong against Samus too, having played with him a bit, but maybe it's because he's just way better than sure. I think this matchup will be very interesting. I can't really call it.
Neither.
Uh,
It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Winner of that will probably end up playing Toucan.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing is that if you look at Birdman/Toucan's Twitter, he made this whole thing about why he might want to quit, why he doesn't really feel as much of a competitive drive as he did before. So I don't know what his long-term plans are.
Yeah.
If
So
this,
this might be like his last big tournament.
yeah, I don't know if this is like if it's time for him to, do one for the books, one for the history books, or if this is kind of um, like I don't think it would be a fuck around thing, considering
Yeah.
how big of a thing this is. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
don't.
don't think he'll do that.
No, I don't think so either. But I don't know his level of engagement to that extent. So I still think I would probably say that he would make it out in winners. I think that he's definitely a pretty strong player against the, like David mentioned, against Samus. And even if Null were to beat him, I think that still could go pretty close. So I'd probably pick him and Quang as my two. But yeah, I think the interesting thing to me is how he decides to play this weekend and then going forward.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what his mentality is over at this tournament. I think I would also pick Quang and Bird.
I also am going to pick Quang and Toucan. I was thinking about picking Travioli for a little bit, but I think I'm going to go Toucan.
Griff?
You have to pick the ice climbers at an Arcadian event. You
Yes.
have to.
Yes.
You
That's
have
a very strong point, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to. You have to.
All right. Awesome. Good thing.
Shout outs to Kobayashi.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Dookie.
Oogie.
Yeah.
all
I hope
right.
Travioli and Pleasantries do well, though. I love my Samus brothers, so.
Travioli listed first by entrance on Smash GG, I think.
That's
so
true.
he could always win this
That is
one.
true.
That's how it works.
Yep.
First
he
hit.
has,
All
he
right.
has entrant precedence.
Yeah. Very powerful in a bracket. That's why H-Box has won so much.
Okay.
No
top
other reason.
32 time.
Yeah. So
We made it.
in the interest of time and because like we went through all of those before, so many of them like we don't know who's actually going to make it out. I think that it's going to be hard to really go through all these considering all the different possibilities that there could be.
Yeah.
So if we just want to pick out a couple really interesting ones, I think that's probably the play, and then we can start making predictions about who we think might win.
Okay, so the one that I want to pick out, the one that I was like, we have to have this match happen. It has to happen. It was Curve A Rookie.
Yeah.
Luigi versus Mario.
I think Koopa's talked about how tough of a matchup that is.
Yeah, Koopa historically has despised playing against like Luigi Kid. Never beat Luigi Kid. And talked about how Luigi is just really hard for Mario.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. But I think Curve probably would have that pretty solidly. If I can pick,
if they both make it to each other.
Yeah, if I can pick one, yeah, of course that's the big thing, right? I'm probably gonna say the ones that we talked about earlier, Bimbo Al and Bobby Kodoran. I think both are Falco Marth, but both seem really interesting to me, especially in this round of top 32.
Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. The first and second Falco seeds have 15 and 16 Marth seeds that are really good against Falco.
Yeah, very scary.
It was not intentional.
Yeah.
And another Falco who I think is going to have a really interesting matchup is if it happens in winners quarters would be Zio versus Lint. Considering Zio has, he had that really good run at Genesis where he beat Bimbo and Squid. I think that could be really interesting. Now
He also
I
was going to say Zio also at Mr. Lombardi.
He did lose. Yeah, he did lose to Mega Xmas.
And Chummy.
Oh God, you're right. I forgot about that.
And Vertigo in bracket
shut up.
ladder.
That doesn't count. Ladder doesn't count.
Pretty tournament for Zio.
No.
I'm just gonna blame it on the fact that the tournament was named after Falco, so Falco's buffed.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
It wasn't his fault.
But the interesting thing is that both of these players will be playing the same exact matchup if this is like if
That's
winners
true.
round one's correct,
Oh.
CD is correct.
Yeah.
That-
There's Falco,
that's
Falcon,
interesting.
Falcon, Falco.
That
Yeah.
should be warm.
But
Go
it's
for it.
really hard to say for any of these, like
yeah, and
how many of these will
who
stay
knows
true.
what'll be at this actual spot in the bracket.
Yeah. But anyone else want to pick out some interesting matches, and then we'll get on to who we think might win.
Maybe Free Palestine Kevbot.
That could be yeah.
Yeah. That could be interesting. Free Palestine has had like I haven't really seen him versus Spaceys that often, and from when I have, he hasn't been like super impressive to me. Like he lost to Mega Xmas at the local yesterday, and he lost to Joy Boy at Fight Pit. So
Mhm.
him versus Kevbot.
This might be tough for Free Palestine. I'm not sure. I think his best local fox is probably Holiday.
It's well, the one that he plays often. It's probably Zealot. Actually,
yeah, Zealot. Yeah,
a Holiday best in like the general region.
yeah. For some reason, I thought Holiday used to be from this and then moved to NEOH, but maybe I misremember.
Might be. I think that might be right.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevbot, like Free Palestine is number 101, but Kevbot actually might be a little bit fit in this matchup. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Any other
yeah.
particular ones that stand out to us?
I guess Quang Toucan.
Yeah,
yeah.
that should be a really
that's gonna
odd
be a
one.
hard
Who do you
Yeah,
go if
so-
you're Quang?
I don't know. Toucan at Genesis, I believe, defeated his
Yeah. Sorry, I was cutting you off.
Ice Climbers Nemesis. I think he beat Rise and then Boyd.
Yeah, he beat Boyd. I remember that. I was pretty impressed that he beat Boyd, actually.
Yeah, so this is possibly a very good pool for Toucan, but also we literally have no idea what Quang is going to do, so it could be a horrible pool.
What if Quang just goes Yoshi?
If he goes
Quang-
Yoshi, then
Quang could just go Yoshi,
might be over.
apparently.
yeah.
Oh,
What if he-
yeah.
What if he just goes Yoshi and beats Toucan?
You go Yoshi and
not
beat Owl
impossible.
too afterwards.
Oh my god! What if he just goes all Yoshi this tournament and still makes winner semis?
Yeah.
Just
Who
winner
knows, man?
semis?
But I don't know. Quang is again the biggest mystery in the tournament. So who knows?
It's impossible to say. All right, so I think we should start to wrap it up, considering we are over 2 hours at this point. This is actually the longest Melee Stats episode we've had.
There's too many people to talk about.
I mean, like literally, of all episodes to be super long, it would be a National Arcadian one because there's so many people here.
And we
Yeah.
even left out some people. Like we didn't talk about some other people. So
We showed a
that are
little
good.
restraint. I'm not gonna pat ourselves on the back. We still talked over
Yeah.
2 hours, but we showed a little restraint. So I'm going to let's talk about who we think is gonna win, which is like I think there's a 5% chance that any of us get it right. I think it's gonna be so tough.
I think it's less than 5.
I'm gonna make
Yeah,
so I thought this
I
from
don't
the
know,
start. When I saw before I saw the bracket, just when I saw the seeds. I don't know. I just got a gut feeling, and I think the more I think about it, the less it seems right. Which is why I don't want to think about it. But coincidentally, not thinking about it is good because it's Quang. It's someone who will hurt your brain if you think about it. There's just I don't know. There's just some really interesting thing. Like I got this gut feeling when I saw that he was entering. I know that he's super solid, and I think his matchup spread is pretty. Well, I can't say it's pretty good because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I literally have no idea, and maybe that's the reason why. I think like at Arcadians, it's good to not bet on the safe bet because it's like they're never gonna win at Arcadians. And this is the exact opposite of a safe bet, considering I literally don't know which character he's gonna go. Also, Aiden told me that Bro is better than Quang, and for some reason I stuck up for Quang. So I gotta root for Quang. Apparently, this is now like it's a personal matter.
I think just looking at the bracket, that Nut has a really, really solid chance.
I was also gonna say Nut. You did
yeah.
a good pick.
You're,
I
you're-
think looking
Really
at
his
his
bracket.
I think looking at his pool, like just from looking at the other pool, I feel like there's at least one or maybe even two matches for even the top seeds where I'm looking at it and I'm like, we talked extensively about how Bimbo might lose his round 2 to Lego or Polier or like Wieners. But Nut, on the other hand, like I don't think he should get contested really at all in his pool. And then looking at the projected, like
yeah.
I think he just beats Ryobeat and then like Free Palestine or Kevbot. Like Nut isn't. He does have some Fox problems sometimes, but like if Kevbot makes it to him, and then I don't know. I think Kadoran is making 2 winner semis, and Nut usually beats Kadoran. I just think like Nut has such a solid chance of making it really, whereas a lot of other top contenders could just get upset early.
Yeah.
I think the way I look at it is that if you did like all the permutations in like a computer, Nut's percentage chance of winning would be the highest.
I agree.
I think.
Like Nuts bracket looks so good. I don't know if there's a.
I don't know. If he gets Free Palestine,
There's only one.
it could be just.
There's only one issue that I think personally is that if he gets Panda, because Panda's really good versus Sheik.
Yeah,
I think Panda would be his hard.
You're right. That actually, I forgot that he would play Panda if Panda beat Ryobeat. Regardless, Nut is such a strong player, and he's like constantly improving. I think that he's probably the smartest pick. You could say
Yeah.
Bimbo, considering Bimbo's skill recently has really shown to be great, but I think Bimbo's bracket's very tough. But yeah, Nut definitely like
Yeah, I agree. Bimbo's bracket is
yeah
very tough.
yeah it's not very easy. But yeah, I think Nut is the very smart choice.
I would pick Nut. Nut is my choice.
Favorable matchup-wise bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Bimbo probably has the least favorable matchup-wise bracket.
Yes.
Yeah. I think bringing up Free Palestine is a good point, though, Damien. Like, versus Nut. Just because, Free Palestine has multiple Dreffen wins.
Yep.
Nut,
he can beat a guy who is really good at chain grabbing and really good at spot dodging. So.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Nut, there isn't, like, a Sheik lower ranked than him that's still ranked, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So
like the best one's like Kami, right?
Yeah, and so I don't know. I feel like he doesn't do very well when he plays against me, and so he doesn't have data versus Sheik's closer to his level.
Gotcha.
And so I'm just less confident in that matchup in particular, especially given the fact that Free Palestine can be someone who is stereotypically very strong in the Ditto.
Yep.
All right. So by that logic, the Nut pick gets weaker, so my Quang pick gets stronger.
My boy, I'm gonna believe in my boy.
Zio?
I'm gonna pick Zio.
Zio!
Damn, Zio has a tough bracket.
Zio has a very tough
Zio's
bracket.
bracket is not easy.
Yeah, his bracket.
It's not even like matchup
tough.
things. It's like he has a bunch of people that I think would do very good against him.
Yeah, I think Lint is by far the biggest problem.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it just all Falcos?
Yeah,
well,
Lint's been beating up
If he gets in
Smuckers.
winner's side top 32, he might end up with a bunch of Falcons.
You're right, but even that, I don't know.
But basically, if Zio is playing well, Lint is definitely the hardest one. Lint, notably up on Smuckers, and just really good against Falcon in general. I think Lint versus Zio is like probably one of the highest level Falcon matchups that you can get outside of top players. So
I agree.
I hope at least Zio makes it there. Play Lint, and then if he can beat Lint, I think after that, everything else will be easier.
All right. So I think Pika, did you agree with Griffin? You also are going Nut?
Yeah, I'm going Nut. I still believe in my Nut boy.
Yeah. Oh, don't call that.
I do think that Nut has the best matchup wise.
Yeah.
For
All right.
sure.
So we have 2 for Nut. We have 1 for Zio. And we have 1 for. Actually, I'm gonna change my answer to Cool Lime, but since he's not there,
Yeah. Cool line.
it'll be
Well, Quang will channel the power of Cool Lime.
Quang will.
Yeah.
Quang will become super cool and
And somewhat lime.
somewhat lime. he'll gather the power of citrus, and
Yes.
I think he can do it. I also think he could really not do well, considering
Yeah, maybe.
he's so mysterious. That's
Yeah.
that's the bet I'm willing to take.
That's the
Yeah.
last thing, which
Mhm.
is, I guess Griffin mentioned it, is I think Kadoran has like almost a clear path to top 8 winner side.
Yeah.
I think Kadoran actually has like the highest chance out of anyone to make top 8 winner side.
I agree with that, but I think once he gets into top 8 winners, it gets a
then
lot
it'll
more
be
difficult.
hard.
Yeah.
But like given the matchups that he has to play, I think Kadoran has like probably like a 50% chance or more to make top 8 winner side, which is like actually insane.
Yeah, that's actually wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. I still don't think Kadoran's going to win, but I think he is almost certainly making top 8.
Yeah. That is basically how I feel.
All right. Well, I think that's basically it for the second national Melee Arcadian. I don't know. Do we have any more points we want to make about it before we end the episode?
Nuts
I
going to
hope
win
people can
singles
watch
and
this
doubles.
before tournament happens.
Yeah.
It's so long.
Yeah. They'll have a whole.
Watch it while watching the tournament, and then compare what we said just as the results are happening.
Yes.
Actually, you know
We
what,
can
Griffin?
revel in
Can
how
you
wrong we are?
can you put this in the venue? Play it on loudspeakers.
Yes, please do that.
Just play this at the tournament. That'd be horrible.
That would be.
I'll see what I can do.
Oh no!
Yes!
That would be the
That'd
worst
be
thing.
horrifying. No.
I would consider I would consider leaving Melee if people had to listen to me talk about them while they're playing.
Yeah, that'd be so.
I would not leave Melee. I would keep doing it.
Given how long it took for each pool, it might just work out perfectly.
Yeah, very very possible.
Perfect.
For
Oh
dude.
my God.
All right, awesome. So let's sign off here. But before we do, face troll. Is there anything that you want to plug other than this tournament?
I guess for my own personal Melee journeys, as far as myself is concerned, are you talking about like social media things, like that sort of thing?
It's up to you.
Jeez.
Okay,
Anything.
fine.
Okay, yeah. Okay. You can follow me on Twitter at @SSBM_faceroll. I've been doing a lot better as of late in terms of Melee results.
Yeah.
I recently got ranked 3 in SoCal, which is the highest I've ever been ranked. My previous high was number 7, which was the past PR, actually.
Wow. That's actually really high rise. Let's go.
Yeah, and I don't know. For some reason, just positive on almost everyone in SoCal except. But I'll play him this period and I'll beat him.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
my promise to myself
You will.
and everyone else who cares about me.
All right.
But yeah, I'm going
you'll beat
to
everybody.
Shine. I guess that's the next guaranteed national I'm going to. Unfortunately, some of the like big tournaments like Gommel and Smash and Splash and that sort of thing don't really work out with my schedule. Because believe it or not, I'm also working time. Kind of unusual, I guess. For
Wow. We should
certain
start
top
calling
players.
you Captain Bankroll.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's a good one.
I actually do work at a bank, so literally.
Oh, let's go.
Oh my God.
Bankroll.
Captain Bankroll.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's where you can follow me on Twitter. My Twitch is twitch.tv/captain_faceroll. And yeah, check me out. Performing well in nationals, hopefully.
Let's go. Yeah, you can follow him on Twitter and see that exact tweet that I stole where he said, "Call me Captain Bankroll." because that was not an original thought. That was a face roll tweet.
Mhm.
All right,
Oh,
awesome.
is it? Damn.
Yeah. Well, it's cool to see that you will, you'll be the one that people want to beat once you get ranked top 20, and then you don't go to anything until Shine.
Yeah.
Yes.
You'll really be the player to beat at that point.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's sick.
All right.
And then watch the second National Melee Arcadian. There's definitely going to be a lot of interesting things. And I guess it's possible that we might do a recap episode. We don't really usually do that for big events, considering our predictions aren't too far off. But yeah, the name of the game for this
the
one is that
predictions are most likely to be up.
it will probably
Yeah.
be so far off from what we're saying. So maybe we'll get a couple of us back together and talk about that. But yeah, all right. Well, everyone, thanks for staying around for the show. Anyone who's listening still, and everyone on the show, thanks so much for being on it. So I will.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
definitely.
Thanks, man.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.